College football fans have journeyed to the New Jersey Meadowlands in August for the excitement of the Kickoff Classic.
HARTLIEB keeps it, throws it out, it's intercepted. The ball is picked up by Tennessee linebacker. It is Darren Miller running as hard as he can. Oh, he's buffeted, the aches and pains are coming, he's diving for the corner. He's got a touchdown.
That amazing play in the 5th Kickoff Classic dealt Hayden Fry and the Hawkeyes a heartbreaking 1-point loss to Tennessee. Now, 5 years later, Iowa is back, and its fans are hoping for a victory this time. Their offense is loaded with seniors, and folks in Iowa City are already smelling roses. But North Carolina State faithful have many reasons to cheer. Dick Sheridan's teams are always tough defensively, and the Wolfpack is ready for the challenge. Tonight, it's Kickoff Classic 10 on Raycom. Raycom presents the Kickoff Classic. Tonight's game is being brought to you by new STP engine treatment. Help stop engine wear before you start. And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey is the only home the Kickoff Classic has ever known. Tonight, we celebrate its 10th anniversary, the Big Ten and the ACC. It's the University of Iowa and North Carolina State. Good evening, everybody. I'm Phil Stone along with Dave Rowe. Oh, boy, the excitement of another college football season is upon us. If you're looking for a focal point, you'll find it on the sidelines this evening. For Iowa, it's Hayden Fry. For North Carolina State, it's head coach Dick Sheridan. Two prime examples, David, of what this college football game should be about.
So very true, Phil. Both these coaches have an excellent mixture of athletics and academics. They really care about their players.
You couldn't be more right, Dave. For Iowa, they like to take the approach of the family style. They love to call it family. And Hayden Fry likes to keep that family together as long as he possibly can.
Well, they call them the senior citizens in Iowa, and it's so true. Their starting offensive line has 5 fifth-year seniors. If that's not enough, 10 of their starting 11 offensive players are fifth-year seniors. And consider this, 80 players off this team stayed in Iowa City this past summer to practice.
The Iowa Hawkeyes have turned out a gaggle of quality quarterbacks over the last 7 years. Guys like Chuck Long, Mark Vlasic, Chuck HARTLIEB, and a guy named Matt Rogers last year. And here in 1992, they have a new name at quarterback, but an old name in terms of people who have been around Iowa City.
There's been a legacy of HARTLIEBs in Iowa, and Jim HARTLIEB is the quarterback this year. Consider this, though. He's a fifth-year senior, but he's a first-year starter. And also, 7 of the last 9 years, Iowa has produced the all-Big Ten quarterback, so that puts a lot of extra added pressure on him.
So hard to believe. This is the first time in 18 years that the Wolfpack will begin a football season away from Raleigh, North Carolina. A year ago, they had 3 quarterbacks who started and won ball games. But here in 1992, Dick Sheridan wants consistency. One man to take his Wolfpack through this college season.
And that consistency starts with Terry Jordan. He started off last year 4-0 before he broke his arm in the Carolina game. They're hoping he can pick up where he stopped off last year.
Dave, this Wolfpack defense is extremely quick and very, very well schooled. You know, being a defensive lineman, how important that is. The big question tonight, can this North Carolina State Wolfpack defense excel not 1, not 2, but 4 quarters against this big, powerful Iowa offense?
Well, that's the big question that Dick Sheridan wants to know, but he's going to have to wait till the 4th quarter to hear that question or get the answer. Every defense, Phil, has a player that sets the tone, and for NC State, it's Sebastian Savage. He's quick, he's intelligent, and he's very, very aggressive on defense.
Tonight, it's the power of North Carolina State's option offense against this incredibly big line of the Iowa Hawkeyes. They're showcased tonight and this 10th Kickoff Classic from Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. It's the 16th ranked Hawkeyes of Iowa and the Wolfpack of North Carolina State in this 10th Kickoff Classic. Now there is head coach Hayden Fry in his 31st year as a head coach, his 14th year at Iowa. This is Hayden Fry's 2nd trip to the Kickoff Classic. Earlier, I asked him if the anticipation here in 1992 has been a plus or a minus for his Hawkeyes.
Well, actually, our guys are very excited. They're very enthusiastic in their preparation, and thank goodness the game's finally here. It seems like we've been practicing for a year. We're ready.
Now, Dave, if Hayden Fry's Hawkeyes are to win, what must they do tonight against the Wolfpack?
Well, first of all, Phil, they are expected to dominate on the line with that great size. Jim HARTLIEB, although he's a fifth-year senior, he's only a first-year starter. He has got to take control of this offense. And last year, Iowa had 61 sacks. That tells you that they force teams into third and long and do a great job with it.
The 1992 opener for the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. The first time they have opened away from Raleigh, North Carolina in 18 years. Earlier tonight, we asked North Carolina State coach Dick Sheridan about tonight's chance to showcase his program.
Well, our team has been really excited about playing this game ever since we learned we had the opportunity to play in it. And to play a team like Iowa, a team that has national respect, a team whose program has been, you know, a highly ranked team year after year, is a great opportunity for us. And we look forward to lining up and measuring ourselves against a program the quality of Iowa's.
They'll have to take that measurement very, very quickly, Dave. What must the Wolfpack do to beat these Hawkeyes?
Well, first of all, Dick Sheridan knows that they have got to run the football. What they make on first down may determine the game. They have got to neutralize Iowa's offensive linemen. They're 6'4". They average 282 pounds. And last year, NC State was plus 18 in turnover department. That has got to continue.
That is an incredible number. We're set. A beautiful, balmy evening on the East Coast. We'll return after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Network. It is a crystal clear evening here in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Giant Stadium, it bathed in the spotlight of this 10th Kickoff Classic as the Wolfpack and the Iowa Hawkeyes meet at the 50-yard line for tonight's toss of the coin.
Call heads. All the heads. It is a heads. It is your choice. You want the ball. You want the ball?
The Hawkeyes of Iowa want the football, so the Wolfpack will defend the goal to our left.
You know, I asked Dick Sheridan that very thing. I said, Coach, if you could start out, which would you rather start out? He said, I'd like to start out on defense. If I have my choice, because I want to stop them, get good field position. So he's getting his wish so far.
It has been an unusually cool summer here in the New York, New Jersey area. Tonight, the temperature, 64 degrees. Humidity not a problem. Wind not a problem either. However, last night, when Hurricane Andrew blew through here, we had winds as high as 40 to 50 miles an hour. Tonight, it is an unbelievable evening. Hayden Fry begins his 14th year as head coach in Iowa City. He is still looking for his first victory over the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. Wow, for Dick Sheridan, what a chance, what an opportunity to get this Wolfpack program not just rolling in 92, but at altitude if they beat Iowa.
Well, if they start off with a victory in this game, he knows the importance of that. They roll into their conference play.
So the Wolfpack is set to kick it away. Handling the kicking chores for North Carolina State, a sophomore out of Winston-Salem, Steve Viditic. And back deep to receive for Iowa, Damon Hughes, number 3, and number 83, wideout Harold Jasper, a sophomore from Long Island. The last time a Hawkeye returned a kickoff for a touchdown came 11 years ago. It came against Indiana. The man's name, Norm Granger. Oh, Iowa, boy, what a way that would be to kick off this 1992 campaign. Viditic approaches the ball, and his 10th Kickoff Classic is underway. It'll be Damon Hughes, and can he fly? The kicker, Viditic, is the man who got his hands on him first. A 36-yard return for Damon Hughes. We have a player down on the far side at the 25-yard line. It is a North Carolina State player. It is number 25, Mike Johnson. A strong safety is still down, so Iowa will begin in a moment from their own 38-yard line. And there is the man who will lead the Hawkeyes through 1992, senior quarterback Jim HARTLIEB out of Woodstock, Illinois, the fourth of the HARTLIEB brothers. And he is a good one. He has been under the tutelage of Matt Rogers over the last couple of years at Iowa. Boy, what a great talent to learn from, Dave.
He said he's learned so much from him. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the luxury of that year when he can take the snaps and kind of get the feel a little bit more. He's thrown into action, but he's a very, very intelligent player. They said he has a 3.67 GPA, and that's quite a tribute to a young quarterback.
Well, he's an academic All-American, grad student working on his MBA this year.
What'd you think of when he said, Hayden Fry said, he's the strongest running quarterback I've ever had at Iowa?
That is saying something. Now, that does not look particularly good for the young man from North Carolina State as the left knee is being tended to. Here is Iowa's offense. There is that senior citizen group we spoke of. 4 of the 5 are seniors. Montgomery and Lampkin are the backs. Lampkin is the tailback. Scooter Lampkin, number 33. He has got the football. He's up across the 43, dives out near the 43. Lampkin's a senior. Lou Montgomery, the fullback's a senior. Cross, Bain and Hughes are seniors. John Akins, the defensive tackle, was the first to make the stop. The defensive line for North Carolina State, they play a rather unusual defensive front. Actually a 5-2. Those are the 5 what they call down linemen. However, Battle and Lawrence are linebackers. And you look at the defensive backfield for NC State. Jeff Antela is split wide to the right. Jasper wide to the left on second down. Second man through again. It is Scooter Lampkin, and he'll get nothing. Big charge by that defensive line of the Wolfpack. O'Neal, Ricky Logo, and John Akins.
Boy, and David Merritt came up late, too. He's going to be a big factor. He's that inside linebacker, number 34. He has to have a good game. He has to play like he did last year. In one game last year, Merritt had 19 tackles against Clemson.
Gain of a little more than 1 for Lampkin. Last year in 40 carries, Lampkin only lost 2 yards. Third down and 5 for the Hawks. Play action, HARTLIEB. He'll be short of the first down by a couple of yards. Tyler Lawrence, beautiful job of hustling John Akins. First man who flushed HARTLIEB out of the pocket.
Yeah, you'll see Akins is on the left side of your screen. He's going to flush him out. 96 makes the quarterback bring the ball down. Now keep him in front of you. Look at 2 men on Logo. He's going to have a lot of attention tonight. But they bring him down, force the 4th down, and force the punt.
Punting it away for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Taken at the 12 by Liddell George, and he is down at the 18-yard line. So the Wolfpack has held Iowa on its first offensive possession, a 41-yard punt. For Liddell George, a 6-yard return.
Boy, I don't think that doesn't set the tone a little bit for this offensive unit as we watch them come out.
And the man who will lead them here is Terry Jordan, 4-0 before he went down with a broken left arm a year ago. 192-pound senior. They love to run the option. Jordan puts it up. It is caught out at the 37-yard line by Eddie Goins. A sophomore flanker from Lakeland, Florida. Whoa, can he fly?
He certainly can. I asked Terry Jordan, I said, Terry, what calms you down as a quarterback? He said, if I complete my first 2 passes, I take that deep breath in the huddle, and I have my leadership and my control. That's what I need. He's got his first one.
Strong side to the near side on first down at the 37-yard line. The pitch comes to the near side. It is Anthony Berger. And look at that balance as he is finally wrestled out at the 42-yard line. The officials say he stepped out of bounds just across the 42. Barber, a 5'9" senior from Garner, North Carolina. Here is NC State's offense, and it is a good one, as we said, led by Terry Jordan. But Anthony Barber, number 24, the tailback, will be calling his number all night long. The offensive line, it is big, and it is very well skilled. George Hageman, biggest man in NC State history, anchors the right tackle spot at 6'7", 332. That's Greg Maynor, the fullback, as he slices through the left side behind Sean Johnson and Eric Taylor. John Hartlieb, the first man to get to him. Now that is Jim Hartlieb's brother. He's replacing a big talent in Leroy Smith. Here is Iowa's defense. Blue, Nelson, Bielema Wells, and John Hartlieb, who just made that tackle. And their defensive secondary, a pair of linebackers, Daly and Teddy Joe Faley, and 4 pretty darn good defensive backs. They lost 3 starters back there from a year ago, Dave, but Hayden Fry says, look, I'm not worried at all. People make too much out of losing starters sometimes. The guys we have back there have played an awful lot of football for Iowa.
Well, in talking with their defensive coaches, they said, don't be misled by the fact that we have 3 new starters, because most of our starters could start for a lot of other teams.
At the 47-yard line, a first down for the Wolfpack of NC State. Reggie Lawrence is checked out for the Wolfpack. Robert Hinton is gone, and it's split, and he is split wide to the left. In the slot is Eddie Goins. Lone setback is Greg Maynor. It is caught by Hinton. Great one-on-one coverage out there all alone by Carlos James, the senior from Park Forest, Illinois.
Well, the mark of a good wide receiver is the block a lot of times. Robert Hinton, number 10, gets a great block. Right there, boom. He's got it, he coming back out inside. That's a good play. That sets up, again, you're trying to set tone. You're trying to establish things.
There's the option. Oh, look at Jordan. He's got room. He could go. Terry Jordan is caught at the 17-yard line by John Hartlieb and Scott Plate.
Oh, and I wondered why he pulled up to try to cut back inside. Terry Jordan, when you're in the flat like that and you're in a flat-out dash, you just keep on running. But an excellent play to pull it out of the belly. They bit on the belly fake into the line. Right there. They bite on it. He pulls it out now. They've got the pitch. There's no one to pick him up. Now, right now, just keep on running as fast as you can. Don't try to turn back. There's no sense cutting under him. You got a lot of people behind you.
First down at the Hawkeye 17. Hinton and Griffiths wide to the left. Now Hinton moves in motion to the near side. Jordan again runs the daylight and is bumped down to the 8-yard line by Tyrone Boudreau, a sophomore inside linebacker out of Houston, Texas.
Well, Hayden Fry told us that Hartlieb was the running quarterback, but Terry Jordan is the running quarterback in this series. Excellent leadership. Watch this. When he makes the fake into the line, that holds the linebackers. Now, fake the pitch, 42, the outside man, that's John Hartlieb. He's got the pitch man. You've got to make the quarterback pitch the ball first.
Gary Downs is the tailback. The up back is the fullback. He's a big one. He's a strong blocker. He is Greg Maynor. Jordan flags her down. He's picked up and dropped at the 4-yard line. Maybe illegal procedure against North Carolina State. Teddy Joe Faley, the inside linebacker on that side, made the tackle.
And if you're an offensive coach, you love it when you see him point at the defense. Someone must have been in the neutral zone, lined up in the neutral zone, or penetrated it, because it's going against Iowa. Can't jump along that line, that defensive line, into that neutral zone, and I think that's what they're going to call. Now the decision right here is whether to take about the 4 yards that they made, which would keep it inside the 5-yard line, or whether the penalty would get it closer. That's what they're trying to determine.
North Carolina State has sent 2 tight ends onto the field, Neil Auer and Ryan Schultz. Now that'll move the ball. They're going to move it down to the 4-yard line.
Yeah, they're going to take the play because they penetrated inside the 5, and the penalty would have only taken them to the 5. Either way, it was a first down.
The 4th first down for Dick Sheridan's Wolfpack here on their opening drive. Maynor and Gary Downs are the setbacks. Number 45, the senior from Columbus, Georgia, is the tailback. Three tight ends now for North Carolina State on 1st and goal. Downs hit at the 4, moves ahead to the 3, and is shoved back to the 4. Matt Hilliard, the junior inside linebacker, is in on the tackle with help from Teddy Joe Faley.
Let me tell you what a confidence booster this is for this NC State team. Their defense came out. Their defense did their job. Held them, got the ball back. Now their offense is complementing the defense as they've driven the length of the field. Big, big series to set the tone for NC State.
Eddie Coins is put way wide to the left. Jordan straight ahead. Downs is mauled at the 1-yard line. Touchdown, North Carolina State. And a cloud of gold pants trying to tackle him. North Carolina State is on the board here with 9:20 still to play on the first period. The point after is up, and it is good by Steve Viditek.
Phil, this is power eye football. There's nothing fancy. It's right over the guard. It's straight at you. You run the two big backs in there to block, and then you let your running back turn his feet, see that black of the end zone, and dive in for the score.
The Wolfpack on its first possession takes an Iowa punt and runs it down their throat. Beautiful evening here on the East Coast as we look down from the Goodyear blimp over the Isle of Manhattan. I'll tell you one thing, North Carolina State, who went on a tour of New York yesterday, they have to be loving the view here from the floor of Giant Stadium.
They came out and have shocked this Iowa team. They came out and ran the ball 5 times. They passed the ball twice. 55 yards rushing on that first drive, Phil.
For the second time, Steve Viditek is going to kick it away. Damon Hughes and Harold Jasper. It'll be Jasper, the sophomore from Long Island. Knocked off his feet at the 28-yard line, and we've got a flag down way back at the 38-yard line. Would lead one to believe it was offside against North Carolina State on the kickoff. A 26-yard return by Jasper. Knocked off his feet by Alan Johnson. Yep, it is offside against the Pack.
Yeah, but when you get the ball out of the 30-yard line, you decline that. You take the position where the ball was. I don't think he's going to make him. He may make him kick over. That would really surprise me. It's because he's got excellent field position at the 30-yard line. A lot of things can happen on a kickoff. You can fumble the ball. You misplay it. There's a lot of things can happen.
The only reason you might make him kick again, Dave, it's early in the game, and you've got two guys who can.
Against the kicking team. Penalty will be enforced.
Yeah, they're going to make him kick it again. I was about to say, when you've got two guys like Hughes and Harold Jasper, 4 guys who can just burn, it may be Hayden's feeling, hey, it's only 5-6 minutes gone in the ball game. Let's just try and see if we can't bust something.
Well, let me tell you something about a smart football coach. Dick Sheridan's taking his team over there. He's telling them to get a breath, take a nice big deep breath. He huddled them all up there so that they just didn't run back and try to run back down again. Let them get their composure a little bit. Let's see if we can get a better kick, better coverage. That's what he's telling his team.
So Viditek, who has been a very busy man here early in the outset of this ball game, the 6'2 sophomore from Winston-Salem, the Wolfpack, quite frankly, trying to replace a pair of fine kickers in Damon Hartman and Mark Falble. Last year, this gentleman right here saw spot duty for NC State. And there is Harold Jasper, joining him back at the 16-yard line, Damon Hughes.
The mark of this penalty will be how far do they get it out past the 30-yard line.
It'll be Jasper again at the 8. Out a net 2-yard gain out to the 32. For Jasper, a return of 24 yards. Carlos Pruitt knocked him down. North Carolina State scoring drive a moment ago didn't take them long. 8 plays, 3:32 to go, 81 yards, and a 2-yard run by the tailback, Gary Downs, the senior from Columbus, Georgia. That's the difference in the game. It is 7-0. Wolfpack over Iowa. HARTLIEB swings it out to the far side. It is Lou Montgomery, the fullback. And he's got 17 yards. Rookie Turner, the free safety, took him down.
Boy, this totally fooled NC State's defense. They started to rush, they started to back off, and HARTLIEB could have sat back there and ate a sandwich while he looked downfield to see who he wanted to pass to. It's a slip screen out to the flat. He fakes into the line. That holds the lineman. Now look, no rush. Look at him just sitting back there, looking downfield. Now, slip him out to the flat. Watch those two big linemen, Ferroni and Devlin, get out there. They're going to be out there. Those are big men running downfield.
17-yard gain for Iowa to their own 49-yard line. First down, Hawkeyes. That is Marvin Lampkin. Goes by the nickname Scooter Lampkin. Got a couple of flags sailing in. David Merritt, the senior from Raleigh, North Carolina. Millbrook High School moves in to take Lampkin's feet out from under him. The entire officiating crew in this 10th Kickoff Classic out of the Big East Conference, and we've got a face mask against North Carolina State. We'll know by how much they march up whether it was intentional or unintentional.
I'll tell you, the middle there, we're watching a classic.
5-yard penalty.
Accidental 5-yard penalty. We're watching a classic matchup in the middle with Ricky Logo, number 90, and Mike Devlin. That's strength on strength. Both big players. Devlin wins this one because the plays are up the middle. And look at Logo saying, hey, wait a minute, he's holding me. But what a player Mike Devlin is, number 60 for Iowa. He is going to be the strongest man that Ricky Logo faces this year.
I don't know a whole lot of guys who can hold on and stop Ricky Logo at 6'1", 278 pounds. Boy, look at that guy. Great story about Ricky Logo. We'll tell you about him as this game progresses. A senior from Fort Benning, Georgia. Harold Jasper has just checked back into the ball game. Jeff Antela, the backup split in from Brule, Wisconsin, is checked out. Jasper and Antela are alternating just about every play for the Hawkeyes. First down, Iowa at the NC State 41-yard line. The two setbacks are Montgomery and Lampkin. HARTLIEB, tremendous pressure, tried to get it out to Danon Hughes. Mike Reed, the strong safety, was all over him.
Boy, they timed that perfectly. What you don't want to do as a defense is give away that safety blitz, because if the quarterback has time to read it, he checks off quickly and you've got your safety up on the line of scrimmage. Reed came right up there just as the ball was snapped and pushed him over.
Mike Reed shares a name, Dave, that you played alongside. A great Mike Reed.
Well, if he's as good as the Mike Reed that I played with at Penn State, he's going to be quite a football player.
HARTLIEB, 2nd and 10, going for the first down. It is intercepted by the Wolfpack. Dwayne Washington, the junior corner out of Durham, North Carolina, has got it.
This was just a poorly thrown ball by HARTLIEB. He throws it behind his wide receiver. Dwayne Washington's behind the play. He's closing on it. You're going to see him on the left of your screen. He's number 20. Watch this. The ball is actually behind him. Washington's trying to run to catch up. Looked like it was intended for him. Good play on there to get back on top of the fumble. That's Tyler Lawrence.
Lawrence covers it. North Carolina State has the turnover. They have the ball with 8:02 to play on the first quarter. With no time remaining, Alabama's Derek Thomas was flagged twice for pass interference. But Ohio State's final shot at the end zone fell incomplete, giving the Crimson Tide a narrow victory in the 4th Kickoff Classic. And what a great Kickoff Classic that was between Ohio State and the Crimson Tide of Alabama. 8:02 to play on the first quarter. We have got a good one underway here at East Rutherford. North Carolina State on their first possession took it the length of the field and punched it in. It is 7-0 Wolfpack.
David, look up.
Greg Maynor. 10, maybe 11 yards as he ran right through the tackle of John HARTLIEB.
One of the things I just noticed is the split on the defensive line. Mike G was about 2 yards from the center, took the defensive tackle out, and that's what opened up that huge hole in the middle. As a defensive player, you have got to make that adjustment. You can't let that guard keep on splitting you out.
There's Maynor. He's the 6'1" senior out of Rinion, Georgia. Maynor and Barber are the setbacks. In motion, the split in, Robert Hinton. Barber. Oh, he runs right into HARTLIEB. Hartlieb, and this time he's not going to run out of his grasp. Here in 1992, sporting new blue and gold colors, the Goodyear Blimp Spirit symbolizes the revitalization of the nation's oldest tire company. Now, Dave, I know you've skippered that giant balloon. That's some fun, isn't it?
I wouldn't have wanted to skipper it last night.
Oh, man.
Those 50-mile-an-hour winds.
Fullback Greg Maynor is in the slot at the upside. Eddie Goins is the split in. There's a little three-step drop. It is caught. Neil Auer, the tight end, has it at the 47-yard line, but we've got a flag down, I believe.
Well, Phil, it might be that one of the receivers stepped out of bounds, because I saw the official throw something down on the sideline. I think it was the receiver stepped out of bounds on this side, so it's not a flag. Good read there by Terry Jordan, seeing the outside blitz, dumping it quick to his tight end.
Wide to the left is Hinton. In the slot, Eddie Goins. He is the guy who can flat out burn. Jordan looking again. Pass intended for Hinton over his head. So it'll be second down and 10 from the 46-yard line. Coverage on the far side by Carlos James.
Well, one of the big concerns for Dick Sheridan and his offensive unit was that protection, keeping them off the quarterback. They had 61 sacks last year, this Iowa defensive unit, and they are not getting to and they're not bothering Terry Jordan back there when he stands in his pocket.
Second down and 10. Wide to the left, it is Ray Griffiths, the junior flanker from Burlington, North Carolina. Reggie Lawrence is in the slot. The pitch goes to Anthony Barber, and he is brought down behind the line of scrimmage by John Hartlieb.
That's the way you play the pitch if you're an Iowa defensive end. You play it, you're in the stand-up position, you make sure he pitches it, you react quickly to the outside, run straight down the line. You've got the intercept angle, and he makes the play.
Now John Hartlieb and Larry Blue, both defensive ends for Iowa, trying to somehow, some way replace Leroy Smith, who last year had 18 of Iowa's 61 sacks. It is caught across the 40 down to the 38, still on his feet is Eddie Goins, and he's finally brought down. Great run by Eddie Goins as he broke two Iowa tackles on the way to the 37.
Well, the words that they use to describe Eddie Goins is let him catch the ball, then see how dangerous he is. Extremely dangerous and elusive wide receiver once he catches the ball. He's still on his feet. No, there's no fear in that wide receiver. He just got dumped by three of them. But watch this. There's one who doesn't pull him down. There's two who doesn't pull him down. Takes three more Iowa people to pull him down.
Mike Daly and Carlos James couldn't get it done, but John Hartlieb does. Fourth down and a little more than a yard. North Carolina State show and punt. I'm not so certain. Whistles sound. Iowa may want to talk it over. Well, it is delay a game against North Carolina State.
Well, this is a little bit of the head game between Dick Sheridan and Hayden Fry. If you take the 5-yard penalty, you move them back, but you've got a little bit more distance to punt the ball. I'm surprised Hayden Fry said take them back, because it's a difficult kick. What you want to do on this is that little pooch kick. They took the 5-yard penalty, by the way, but what you want to do on this is get that little pooch kick that just drops over top of the line and rolls down inside the 20-yard line.
Tim Kilpatrick will punt it. Iowa had 5 blocked punts a year ago. Harold Jasper is the man back deep as Kilpatrick puts it straight up in the air. Fair catch at the 21-yard line. So the Hawkeyes will have it at the 21 with 4 minutes and 43 seconds left to play in the first quarter. It's North Carolina State 7, the Hawkeyes nothing. Iowa and North Carolina State kicking off their 1992 college football season. The Wolfpack out in front 7-0 with 4:43 to play in the opening quarter. The Hawkeyes with the football. Draw play. It is Montgomery. And look at him step out of a tackle. He just stepped in and out of the arms of Dwayne Washington. Pardon me, it was Marvin Lampkin, the tailback. Interesting story about Marvin Lampkin is he has the option, Dave, of picking whatever hole he wants to run. Yeah, Hayden Fry calls it run into daylight.
Yeah, that's what they call it, daylight right, daylight left. He has that opportunity to cut all the way back. I'll tell you one thing, it must be a real tribute to a running back when Hayden Fry says he's tough. And you can look at his lips snarl up and say he is one tough player.
Lampkin and Montgomery are the setbacks. That is Lampkin in motion. Montgomery, the lone man, he has the football as he runs it up behind Mike Baroni and into the arms of Carl Reeves first. Reeves, a defensive tackle. I can't believe it. He has to be the lightest defensive tackle in Division I football.
He certainly is. I've been watching that Ricky Logo matchup in the middle again, and I'm going to tell you one thing. That is going to be a battle all night. Ricky Logo's number 90. You said he weighs 278 pounds on that 6'1" frame. Tremendous strength. And he's going against the #1 rated center in college football today in Mike Devlin. The comments about Devlin is the nastier the better. He's a throwback to the old days. He's that pro-type center that just keeps on coming at you.
Second down and 5. HARTLIEB to the near side. Danon Hughes has it. He's got a first down at the 47-yard line, and Dwayne Washington tackles him.
Phil, when you have speed like Danon Hughes, you've got to respect him if you're a defensive player. This is just a quick curl out. You don't even see the defensive player in the picture. And that's their best one. Savage is in there. They have got to cover a little bit closer on him. But as soon as you start coming up close on him, he's got the speed to burn you.
First and 10, the ball at the 47-yard line. HARTLIEB wants to roll right. Got a good block, now throws on the flat. It is caught by Hughes and out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Lou Montgomery took somebody out as HARTLIEB rolled right, and I mean took him out huge.
He certainly did. That was a crack back down the line. But I was impressed the way HARTLIEB threw on the run. Sure, he's running to his right, and that's the strongest way to throw for a right-handed quarterback, but he really threw that and delivered that ball in there very, very well.
Danon Hughes, 2 catches, 17 yards.
Watch the crack back right there. Wow. You see Keith Battle go down. And an excellent throw out to the flat.
Second, a little more than 1. HARTLIEB this time will roll up. Hughes is wide open. HARTLIEB can't see him, I believe. Jim got the first down before Keith Battle chased him down.
Boy, it looked like Hughes was going to break wide open on this play. Watch him again. He's getting the respective coverage there. He's into the fight. Look at that. He is wide open on a fly pattern. But another, let's talk about the smartness of HARTLIEB on that play. He knew it was short yardage. You only had to make about 1 or 2 yards. He put his head down, picked up the first down.
For 2 years, Jim HARTLIEB learned how to quarterback from a good one, Matt Rogers, and now as a senior, he finally has come to the top of the deck of cards. Hughes in motion, first down. HARTLIEB, the give is to Lampkin, and he is hit at the line of scrimmage, dives ahead a couple of yards. First man that got to him was, I believe, Ricky Logo, number 90, with help from Damian Covington. Covington, a sophomore from Berlin, New Jersey. A lot of players for both Iowa and North Carolina State from the New York, New Jersey area. And I'll tell you, everybody on both sides couldn't wait to play this game tonight.
Well, it's a showcase for these New Jersey players. And gosh, there must be 15 players here from New Jersey.
A gain of 1, second and 9. The ball on the 40. HARTLIEB, 7-step drop under pressure, comes to the near side. It's Montgomery, the fullback. The flag is down, and so is Montgomery. When Tyler Lawrence fought off 2 blocks to make the tackle.
Yeah, I think they're going to call holding on Lampkin. He had a block early. That's what it's going to be, holding on Lampkin. That is really going to hurt Iowa. They came out there. What happened is Lampkin threw his block early. The defender started to break away, and all of a sudden he just grabbed him.
Lampkin may have the option to run to daylight, but he better learn to hold in the shade. You don't want to get caught holding.
No, not on a play like that, because it really stops the...
Against the offense, penalty, enforced from the spot of foul.
The Kickoff Classic is being brought to you by Krylon. Got rust? Get tough. Rust tough. A minute 37. The clock is running here in the first period from the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. North Carolina State leading Iowa 7-0. Second down and a whole bunch. Second and 23. HARTLIEB right over the middle. It is caught by Montgomery, and great one-on-one tackling by Damian Covington. Boy, is HARTLIEB hot.
Yes, he is. But let me tell you, the defense on this NC State team is hot too. That penalty was huge. They had first down on the 41-yard line of NC State. Now they're back in their own territory. They pick up 6-7 yards on that play, and they're only out to their own 43. That was a huge penalty.
A gain of 1 yard. Third down and 22. The ball now on Iowa's own 43-yard line. The setbacks, Montgomery and Lampkin. Play action, HARTLIEB wants to set and throw. Again throws the short stuff. Again it is Montgomery. In the Wolfpack territory at the 49-yard line. Not even close to first down country.
Well, HARTLIEB stumbled on the play. When he stepped up forward, he stumbled and actually threw that ball as he was going to his knees. NC State got a good push that time, collapsed the pocket around him, and HARTLIEB, in his effort to move out of the pocket, stumbled.
So Iowa will kick it away. A good one. Liddell George has it at the 15, and he'll take it out of bounds. A punt of 29 yards. North Carolina State will have the ball again as we have reached the end of the first quarter. Want to alert our stations along the way that this is position number 6. Back with more of the Kickoff Classic in a moment. Travel arranged through U.S. Air, which on September 12th opens New York LaGuardia's premier terminal. It's just one more way of showing that everything we do, U.S. Air, begins with you. In the shadows of the Chrysler Building, Manhattan, just to the east of us, North Carolina State leading Iowa 7-0. We talked about so many players being from this area. North Carolina State returns 11 players. They're coming back home to play. Iowa has 12 players from in and around New York, New Jersey. First down, North Carolina State at their own 20-yard line. Jordan wants to put it up, throws, finds the seam, and overthrows his receiver. Pass intended for Reggie Lawrence, the senior split end out of Camden, New Jersey. Played at Camden High School, just up the road a piece.
Oh, I know it very well. Good pressure in the middle there by Belima. He's number 91. Watch this, right up the middle. Good, he doesn't fall over. He just rolls over that defensive back, and he's right in the face of Terry Jordan.
Second down and 10. The Wolfpack will come from the I. Boy, the entire right side. George Hegeman, the redshirt freshman, and Mike G, the senior. Everybody jumping.
Well, you know, Jordan did an interesting thing there. He came out and changed his snap count. He actually drew Iowa off sides, except I think it may go against NC State because his players jump. There's the signal, illegal procedure. But he came out and emphasized that same snap count that he's been going on, and he actually drew Iowa offside.
Now you look at first quarter statistics. Look at yards rushing, 76-33. Total yards belong to North Carolina State.
Boy, I bet you Dick Sheridan is just smiling from ear to ear over those stats in the first quarter.
Eddie Goins is split wide to the left on 2nd and 14. The give right up the gut to Gary Downs. He is the difference in this game as he scampered 2 yards for the only touchdown thus far. Downs right into the arms of Mike Daly.
And what a cut. If Downs could have gotten his balance back and broken that tackle, he would have picked up another 15 or 20 yards. Iowa's creeping up on the ball. They're bringing those big linemen are down. The linebackers are up close. If you can split them and break through, you pick up that big yardage, 15, 20 yards on that run.
Bottom of your screen, it is Ray Griffiths. Third down and 10. Jordan throws to the near side, and it's almost intercepted by Daly. Pass intended for the fullback, Liddell George. He didn't even turn around. The guy who saw it was Daly, and he couldn't get to it.
Well, Jordan under a lot of pressure again. He has to get rid of it early, but there's just no place to throw it. They don't really get into their pattern before he has to unload the ball.
Tim Kilpatrick with his second punt of the evening. Kilpatrick, the youngest of 7 children from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Keep in mind, a year ago, the Hawkeyes, Dave, blocked 5 punts.
They've got 9 men up on the line of scrimmage and trying to get another one up there. They're going to get great field position on this play.
Puts it up in the air. Jasper, a fair catch at the 48-yard line. So Harold Jasper, the 5'10", 165-pound split end, has given Iowa great field position at the 48. We'll return after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Network. In East Rutherford, New Jersey. Nightfall here on the East Coast. And boy, what a beautiful night it is. Temperature right around 60 degrees now. 14:09 to play in the second quarter. HARTLIEB throws it to the near side. It's Lou Montgomery to the 41-yard line of North Carolina State. Greg Gianamore and Sebastian Savage. Dave, you talked about him at the outset of our telecast. Number 32, the corner for North Carolina State, moves up to make the tackle on Montgomery.
Oh, what a great player he is. I said to him, I said, I'm from a small town, North Carolina, called Asheboro. And he said, you ever been to Carlisle? He said, I promise you, Carlisle is just a crossroads, and we've got a blinking light. He said, but I love it back home. Tell all my friends hello. Wonderful, wonderful young man.
5 interceptions last year, including a 99-yard return against arch rival University of North Carolina. Montgomery now 4 catches for 37 yards. HARTLIEB puts it up for grabs. Pass intended for Danon Hughes. Almost found Dwayne Washington.
Well, that's what they have got to do, this NC State team, and that is get pressure on HARTLIEB, not allow him to fake in the line, hold those linebackers and linemen in there, and then look downfield. That time it was Gianamore who got a good pressure on him and forced him to throw the ball early.
Be sure and stay tuned for the end of tonight's game when Dave and I will be selecting the Sports Cream Player of the Game. Double wideouts to the top of your screen. Marvin Lampkin is the tailback. There's the draw. Lampkin's got it. Boy, a great fake on the part of the quarterback, Jim HARTLIEB. David Merritt cut Lampkin's legs out from under him, but I'll tell you who made that play. HARTLIEB carried the fake to perfection.
That's the sign of a well-schooled quarterback. When you fake the ball in there, you bring it out. Now, you don't have the football. Right there, he's giving it away there. But watch HARTLIEB continue, bring the hands up, and even fake throw the ball. Excellent play by HARTLIEB.
3rd down and 3 for Iowa. The ball on the Wolfpack 34-yard line. HARTLIEB has the first down near the 29. He is tackled by Greg Gianamore, and the flag is down at the 28.
Boy, Alan Cross, number 87, made a great block on that play. That's going to be face mask against NC State. That's not what you want to have if you're a defense, because that tacks on after the play is ended. Difference here, I think it's just going to be the 5-yard one. Yes, it is. You know, big Alan Cross, number 87, he's known for his catching downfield, had 33 catches. But he's also known as a good blocker. He gets the block right there. Turning, you can't see him really. He's right in the right of your screen there. But he makes that block, and that's what frees the quarterback up around that corner.
There is Alan Cross, the senior from San Diego, California. 3 touchdowns a year ago, a former walk-on at Iowa, and boy, do they have a bunch of them there.
Well, you could write a book about the walk-on story at Iowa.
In motion, Hughes on 1st and 10 at the 24. HARTLIEB rolls left, throws it up. The ball is knocked down. I don't know how Keith Battle got his hand on it, because he did a 360 in the air when he came down.
Well, that's what you want from your outside backer. Courage to know you're going to get hit and still knock that pass down. Battle gets that hand up and just knocks the ball down, and I mean, as you said, he got leveled on the play.
Iowa thus far 10 carries through the line for 45 yards. The big story, North Carolina State 11 carries, 7.5 yards each time they try and go through that Iowa defense. 2nd and 10. Again, Hughes in motion to the short side. Lampkin, you heard it. Whoa, what poppin'. Greg Gianamore got to him. He's the middle linebacker, the junior from Winter Haven, Florida.
Now, let me tell you about toughness when you talk about a football player. He's a middle linebacker. He's 6 foot. He weighs 215 pounds. Let's listen to it.
And you wonder why running backs have a lifespan in the NFL of just a couple of years. There's one reason why. Alan Cross and Matt Whitaker, a double tight end formation now for Iowa. And apparently HARTLIEB, the senior from Woodstock, Illinois, didn't like something. He'll call a timeout. It comes with 11:41 to play in the first half. North Carolina State continues to lead 7-0. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the Raycom Network. Along with Dave Rowe, I'm Phil Stone. North Carolina State on their first possession went the length of the field. A 2-yard run by their tailback Gary Downs, and that is where we stand. Iowa has the football now. It is 3rd down and 9. Double tight ends now for the Hawkeyes. Lou Montgomery also lined up. HARTLIEB under pressure, steps up, throws, and is caught by David Hughes for the 5. Touchdown, Hawkeyes!
Let me tell you something, Phil. Wayne Washington, number 20, the outside corner, is going to have a nightmare over this play. He had a straight run at HARTLIEB, and all he did was just kind of brush on by him with a hand, allowed HARTLIEB to step up, find Hughes crossing, and it was touchdown. But Dwayne Washington had a sack. I mean, he had what you dream of.
Todd Romano, a redshirt freshman from West Palm Beach. His first attempt as a varsity football player at Iowa, and he ties the game. 11:34 to go in the first half.
Watch to the right of your screen. Here comes Washington. Look at this. And HARTLIEB with that good strength finds Hughes crossing, and that's the hardest play for a zone defense to react to, is that crossing pattern, because nobody has Hughes. Here he is again, about 5 yards downfield. It's a 23-yard play, and he catches it crossing. And you can see the defensive backs all on their heels trying to get back over, to no avail.
A year ago, Hughes, 43 catches. He's all Big Ten. In 1988, Jackie Sherrill's Aggies were favored. But Nebraska's backup kicker Greg Barrios, subbing for the injured starter, booted 3 field goals to provide the margin of victory for the Cornhuskers. Danon Hughes has just brought Iowa even. His 16th career TD reception at Iowa, and that ties the Hawkeye all-time record held by Robert Smith.
You know, on that play, you have to give a lot of credit to HARTLIEB. That was the blitz side that Hughes was on. He read that blitz, was able to step up, find his wide receiver. That's a great play by a quarterback.
There you see Jason Olenczak. He is the captain of that special teams unit as he is calling the kickoff alignment for Iowa. Todd Romano, a man whose point after a moment ago tied the game, is set to kick it away. Romano at Newman High School in West Palm Beach, Florida, never missed a field goal inside 48 yards. Amazing stat for a prep kicker. Back to receive, Anthony Barber and Reggie Lawrence. Short kick. It's going to bounce. Gets away. Lawrence finally comes up with a football, and down he goes at the 10-yard line.
You talk about flirting with disaster. That was flirting with disaster. That ball takes one more bounce, and Iowa recovers it. Watch this ball when it's back. You never let a ball bounce. Look, it takes that sideways bounce. Now watch how quickly Iowa comes into the picture. It takes one more bounce, and it's Iowa's ball.
Great coverage by the Hawkeye Specials kickoff team at the 14-yard line. The Wolfpack with the ball in motion. It is Eddie Goins. The pitch comes to the near side. Anthony Barber crashes ahead to near the 18. A year ago, Anthony Barber led the Atlantic Coast Conference, Dave Rowe, with a per carry average of just over 6 yards.
Yeah, they call him cracks. All he has to do is see a crack, and he's through it. That's what Dick Sheridan said in his blocking scheme. He said, we can get big man on big man and just get a crack. He said Barber is that type of running back at 5'9", about 170, fully dressed, that just breaks through that crack and he picks up that 5 to 7 yards.
He got 5 that time through the line. It is 2nd down and 5 at the 19. In motion, Barber, Maynard, the lone setback. Play action. Jordan to the far side. It is caught. Ray Griffiths found the seam at the 32-yard line, and Carlos James closed quickly.
Boy, and I want to tell you, Terry Jordan has taken huge steps today for confidence. He's back there. He's got that leadership. That's a curl pattern. What they do is they run down and you just curl, and watch when he turns around. Stands in the pocket confidently. There's the curl right in front of the defender. You know you're going to get hit, but all you do is you first think about catching that football. But good leadership from that young man.
Terry Jordan now 5 of 8 for an even 50 yards. First down at the North Carolina State 34-yard line. Play action. Jordan options it around the right side, and whoa my, nothing doing. Larry Blue is there with help from Jeff Nelson.
Well, I want to tell you, they were not fooled on that play. Watch Jason Dumont on that play. Right here, good fake down the line. Now watch right here, fake outside. There's Jason Dumont, 97, and they just crush him on the play.
Dumont, a senior defensive tackle from Wellman, Iowa. Gain of less than a yard. Greg Maynard comes wide to the left along with Eddie Goins. Jordan looking for Griffiths. He has got him at the midfield stripe and down to the Iowa 48-yard line. Ray Griffiths, a junior from Burlington, North Carolina.
I'm going to look across at Dick Sheridan and see if his feet are on the ground, because his offensive linemen are giving Jordan great time to prepare and stand back there and find his wideouts. Watch Jordan. This is just great blocking up front. They just keep on bouncing around. Good slide. You push him around the outside of the quarterback, and no one is touching Jordan or getting in his face.
First down, Wolfpack. Jordan, 7-step drop, puts it up in the air and overthrows Robert Hinton at the 32-yard line. Jordan seems to be at his best, Dave. That's the second time we've seen him kind of float that ball. Seems to be at his best when he puts a little juice on it.
Well, I think he has to deliver that ball, as you said. He has to deliver quickly, and he has to find those seam passes. That's where he's really been effective, those little curls.
Piloting the Goodyear blimp tonight for this 10th Kickoff Classic is Captain Patrick Henry. Patrick, we appreciate your presence high above Giant Stadium. In motion, it is Reggie Lawrence. The pitch out to Anthony Barber. He is on his feet to the 30, to the 25. Barber is going to go. Senior from Garner, North Carolina. And Dave, he can thank Reggie Lawrence for the block that sprung him.
And he can thank an excellent pitch by Terry Jordan on the play. Jordan plays this as well as you can play the option. That's what Terry Jordan did on this play. He ran down the line. He made a great fake and just pitched the ball out there. Barber never broke stride.
Steve Viditek attaches the point after, and with 9:16 to play in the first half, NC State has broken on top once more.
Watch right here. You have to read the back right there. Freeze it. Now he pitches the ball. Look at Barber looking back. Excellent pitch. He catches it right in stride. Doesn't even have to reach back for it, and he's off to the races.
Anthony Barber, a year ago, 769 yards for the Wolfpack, and what a big start he's off to tonight. 9:16 to play in the second quarter. Phil Stone along with Dave Rowe. It has been a great ball game thus far. NC State's offense has simply run the ball down the Hawkeyes' throats. 15 carries for 149 yards. That's almost 10 yards a carry. Damon Hughes, he's going to bring it out. Terrific block by Matt Whitaker sprung Hughes out to the 38-yard line.
And Phil, speaking of blocking, let's take another look at that big offensive line here. G, number 75. He levels inside. Look at this. He gets his man. Outside of him, George Hageman, he gets his man. They just collapse that Iowa line inside. That's what caused the play to be able to get outside, and of course the 49-yard run.
6 plays, 86 yards. The Wolfpack, 2 minutes and 18 seconds. 49-yard run by Barber. Crossing pattern over the middle. The ball intended for backup fullback Paul Kuyawa, and it's overthrown. It'll be 2nd and 10 Iowa.
I wonder if all the NC State fans are hoping for 200 yards, because when NC State rushes for 200 yards, they are 21-0-1.
Oh, my.
And they've got 149 yards in this first half.
Now, there's a man who, for the last 6 years, has put together this North Carolina State football team, both offensively and defensively. 2nd down and 10. Lone setback is Lampkin. Hartlieb will roll to the near side. Pursued from the back. Hartlieb's going to tuck it in and take it out of bounds at the 44-yard line. And bearing down was Carl Reeves, a sophomore from Durham, North Carolina. Boy, Reeves, 219. He's a defensive tackle. I spoke earlier in the ballgame that he has to be one of the lightest defensive linemen in all of Division I. A defensive tackle at 219 used to be, not anymore.
No, that's true. You know, I'm watching the secondary of NC State. They're playing very well. They're playing a 2-deep zone here. You see the 2 deep men and then the draw zone underneath. That's what's causing Hartlieb. When he throws out here, he doesn't see anyone open. So he's got to pull the ball down and run for the yardage.
Jasper splits wide to the left. Marvin Lampkin in the slot. 3rd down and 5. There's the draw. Montgomery's got it. The Wolfpack sniffs it out nicely, and we've got a flag thrown. Mike Harrison, he's a true freshman out of Camden, New Jersey.
I think it's going to be a hold against Iowa. That's what it looked like to me on the play, and they may have in fact held Harrison, that freshman. He broke through free and made the fullback alter his course, and when he did, it looked as if someone grabbed him from the back.
Well, it was Harrison who applied the pressure, and Ricky Logo, the nose guard, who brought him down. So a loss of a couple. It'll be 4th down now and about 8. Iowa's going to give it up. Scott Fisher will come on for the 3rd time to punt the ball away. The 6'3" senior from Sioux City, Iowa. Like Paul Kuyawa, like Bielema, like so many players on this Iowa team, the punter right there, Scott Fisher, is a walk-on. And boy, does he blast that one. Liddell George at the 16. And he is wrapped up at the 20 and dropped. For Fisher, a 44-yard punt, a 5-yard return. The clock is stopped with 8:38 to play, and the 2nd quarter will return after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Network. This telecast is a copyrighted presentation of Raycom Incorporated and is intended solely for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the video or audio portions of this program without the express prior written consent of Raycom is prohibited. North Carolina State has the football. Greg Maynor, the senior fullback, runs it up behind Sean Johnson and Eric Taylor and right into the arms of Mike Wells.
Now, one thing they have to be careful about, NC State does, Phil, is that they don't want to get conservative in this situation. I know Dick Sheridan's looking up that scoreboard saying we got a little bit over 8 minutes. We've got a 14-7 lead. I've got some control in this game. My team's playing on emotion, but they cannot afford to get conservative.
Again, first man through, it is Maynor, and again, he is popped. Pickham, Jeff Nelson, Brett Bielema, along with Mike Wells. Boy, Terry Jordan, senior quarterback from Gaither High School in Tampa, Florida. Talked to him yesterday, Dave, sitting at the stadium here, and boy, just as quiet as he could be.
Well, I'll tell you also what Dick Sheridan said about him is fierce competitor.
3rd down and a long 7. Jordan going for first down yardage. It is caught by Ray Griffiths. The flanker out just across the 40-yard line is hit by Jason Olenzak.
That play has been open all night for NC State, and they have gone to it 4 or 5 times now. All it is a seam curl at about 15 yards. The receiver just runs down and curls. The defensive back is not playing close enough. Consequently, when the curl is there, the timing is perfect. It's a strike, and all you can do is come up and tackle him. They've got to play that play better on Iowa's defense.
Eddie Goins and Neil Auer is split to the top. Jordan, great fake on the option. Caught from behind, loses the football, and is recovered by Iowa. Maria Crane, the nose guard, has got it, and the Hawkeyes will take the football.
Every time, it seems almost every time you see a fumble by a quarterback, he's hit from the back. It's the most vulnerable spot for a running back to be hit. I think it might have been Larry Blue, number 95, who makes the play, but someone hits him from the backside. Watch the hand rake in. It is Blue. There it is right now. He hits him from the backside. Again, this ball just needs to be put away. When you picked up that first down yardage, you don't want to get careless with it.
Crossbuck, near side, fullback, low. Montgomery crashes to the 46-yard line. Great lead block out in front by the tackle, Scott Davis, who came all the way from the left side. A pulling tackle to make the lead block.
I thought he buried Keith Battle on that play. I saw Battle's legs just collapse underneath him. Battle's be on the right of your screen. Look at there. He just crushes him over there.
Montgomery, one of the best fullbacks in the Big Ten a year ago at catching the football. 35 receptions. First down at the Wolfpack 46-yard line. Lampkin, first man to him. Keith Battle knocked his legs out from under him. You know, Dick Sheridan, Dave, believes that the duo of Battle and Tyler Lawrence have a chance to become the best outside linebacking duo NC State has ever had under that man right there.
That's saying something, because there's been a lot of great linebackers that have come out of NC State.
Well, Lawrence this year nominated for the Butkus Award. There he is. Missed 2 games last year with an ankle and still had 63 tackles. Second down, a long 9. There's Montgomery. I was talking about him a moment ago. He dives. And that extra effort, I believe, got the first down at the Wolfpack 36-yard line. He needs to get to the 37. And they're going to mark it at a 36. It's a first down for Iowa.
Well, this is just power football. You see those big linemen with those heads down. They're just cleaning them out. And Montgomery puts that head down. Bob Reese got a great block on that play.
Boy, the tight end, Matt Whitaker, joined Reese up there and just blew away a couple of Wolfpack would-be tacklers. First down, Hawkeyes. Clock running, 5:35 to play on the first half. Pack showing blitz, and here they come. HARTLIEB puts it up for grabs, and it is almost intercepted. Dwayne Washington, he picked one off in the first quarter and almost got that one. Pass intended for Jeff Andela, but the split end had not turned around to look up.
Well, if Washington comes down with this play, it turns the momentum of this drive. Right now, Iowa's playing physical football. They're just driving off the line. HARTLIEB tries to throw this little go pattern here, throw it up, and it's short. Watch Washington, number 20, come in, get a hand on it. He almost had that football.
Dwayne Washington, a junior from Durham, North Carolina. 2nd and 10. HARTLIEB 7-step drop, now steps up. Throws it. It is caught. Harold Jesper down to the 22-yard line. And another Iowa first down. I asked coaches yesterday, how do you describe Harold Jasper's style of play? He said, well, he's acrobatic, and boy, is he slippery.
Well, anybody can high jump 6 feet 10, and he's only 5 feet 10.
Oh, my.
That tells you about his athletic ability. I almost get the feeling right now that if Iowa's able to drive this football in and score, that they're going to take the momentum of this football game, and it's going to be NC State's chore to stop them.
In motion, Danon Hughes to the wide side. The give comes to the short side. It is Montgomery. Great pursuit by the Wolfpack defense led by Carl Reeves. Again, David, he is that 219-pound defensive tackle. How does he do it?
Well, they call this NC State defense a swarming defense, and that's the way that they make their plays, to get a lot of people to the football. You're right, at 219 pounds, you don't think about playing defensive line. But you have to rely on speed, and NC State, for them to be successful against Iowa, they have got to get a lot of people to the football.
Second down and 7. 4:57 to play in the first half. North Carolina State 14, Iowa 7, and they're threatening. HARTLIEB. It's caught at the 10-yard line, and Hughes is taken out of bounds by Sebastian Savage. Danon Hughes, Dave, he reminds me a lot of another Big Ten wide receiver, formerly at Ohio State, Chris Carter. Same kind of build, same kind of moves. One big difference, Hughes is bigger.
I think Hughes may have a little bit more speed, too. I'm very, very impressed with Hughes' speed. They say he's 4'5", but he moves very, very quickly. He makes those great cuts, especially on this artificial surface.
This time Hughes split wide to the right. He's got Sebastian Savage out there with him. First down at the 10. HARTLIEB looking for Hughes. Touchdown, Iowa!
There is no way you're going to cover him one-on-one. What he did that time is he froze the defensive corner right in his feet. He just came straight at him, made that hard break inside, and he was dead on line in there.
Todd Romano from the hold of Paul Burmeister, and we're tied. Following the fumble by Terry Jordan, Iowa takes the turnover and goes the length of the field. 4:47 to play in the first half.
Watch Hughes freeze this corner and then cut right in underneath him. That's just pitch and throw.
Beautifully thrown ball. The clock is stopped. It's Iowa 14, the Wolfpack of NC State 14. If you have just joined us, thus far you have missed one tremendous football game. NC State took a 7-0 lead. Iowa came back and tied it. The Wolfpack jumped up 14-7, and the Hawkeyes have just tied it again at 14. .447 to play in the second quarter. The Kickoff Classic is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. Todd Romano will boot it away for Iowa. Back deep, Anthony Barber, number 24, in the crimson jersey, along with Reggie Lawrence. The redshirt freshman lets it sail. Short kick. Taken by Reggie Lawrence at the 15. And he doesn't get much. Matt Hilliard, who plays behind Teddy Joe Faley at an inside linebacker spot for Iowa, knocks him off his pegs after a return of 11 yards.
Well, you hate to use the cliche in important series, but this is a very, very important series for NC State. They have got to get some offense going. You just can't get conservative like they did last time. They didn't help their defense out. That was one of the keys. They had to keep their defense off the field. They ran 3 plays and out. They don't want to have another series like that.
First down, North Carolina State. In motion, Gary Downs. The give, the only man behind him, Liddell George. He'll move it just about to the line of scrimmage and is tackled at the 26, maybe the 27. Well, Hayden Fry's Hawkeyes tied it after the fumble by Terry Jordan. They go 7 plays, 58 yards, and boy, it didn't take him long. HARTLIEB, a 9-yard pitch to Danon Hughes. Boy, look at Hayden's record. 14 years in Iowa City, 100 victories. Winningest coach in Iowa history. Near side, it is Gary Downs, and he is hit by Larry Blue at the defensive end. Boy, Larry Blue, last couple of years, played in the shadow of Leroy Smith. Boy, was that a big shadow.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the defense here. You always think that the defense has a huge advantage early in the season because the offense takes a little bit more time to get their continuity. But we're seeing offensive shows that are great shows tonight, and the defenses aren't reacting as well as the offenses are.
Wide to the right is Eddie Goins. In the slot, Robert Hinton. Third down and a long 4 for the Wolfpack. Caught by Goins. Spins to the 40, out near the 41. A flag is down back at the 34. Larry Blue cut his legs out from under him. Well, we saw Goins earlier in the first quarter. When he gets the ball in the open field, Dave, it is showtime.
I think they're going to call a clip against Gary Downs, and this is a tough call. It is. It's going to be against Gary Downs. On this play, what you do is you try to throw it out and get to blocks and let the receiver run underneath the coverage. Downs, in his effort, he had an angle on the guy, but the guy at the last minute turned his back, and I think Downs clipped him. The block in the back. And it's the big block in the back because it's 15 yards.
Illegal block in the back. 10-yard penalty in the spot of the foul. Third down.
Now this year in college football, as we watch it again, a block in the back above the waist, Dave, is 10 yards. A block in the back below the waist is 15 yards. And there it was.
Well, there was another one, too. Eric Taylor got a block in the back, so evidently there were two on that play.
Now it is 3rd and 11. Jordan right over the top. It is caught. It's Goins again. Out to the 37 and a first down for North Carolina State. Tyrone Boudreau and Teddy Joe Faley on the tackle. What a catch by Goins.
Goins is on this crossing pattern, and that's what he's been most effective on. Once he gets that football, he has to realize where that first down yardage is. That was an excellent cut back up underneath to put that head down. He made that first down by not more than a yard.
Hinton goes wide to the right. Ray Griffiths is at the bottom of your screen. He'll draw one-on-one coverage from Carlos James. Out to the far side. It is caught by Hinton. And down he goes at the midfield stripe.
I wondered where the corner went on that play, because the cornerback was not even in the play. Now, one thing Iowa at NC State has got to be concerned about, there's 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. They don't want to hit. You see, there's no cornerback on that play. He just runs out of the play. But what I was going to say, Phil, is that NC State has got to be concerned with that clock. 2:50 left. You don't want to give it back to Iowa, but you don't want to miss a scoring opportunity.
Draw. Anthony Barber. He is hit at the line by Jeff Nelson, a senior defensive tackle from Stillwater, Minnesota. Talk about Iowa's big offense. They've got a big defense, Dave, and they are missing 3 outstanding performers off last year's team. I mentioned Leroy Smith. How about Ron Gator and linebacker John Derby, all gone to graduation. Boy, 3 big, tremendously talented defensive players that Hayden Fry has got to find a way to replace here in 92. Second down now and 10. Iowa showing blitz, and flags are flying all over the place. It'll go against the Pack. That stops the clock with 2 minutes to play on the first half.
Now, was there a penalty? Yes, there was. Right at the 2-minute. Oh, boy. Right at the 2-minute mark. I think it was Auer that kind of flashed his hand there. What a great story Neil Auer is. Told me yesterday he wants to be a teacher, he wants to be a coach. He says, I'm prepared to do both.
That is the 7th penalty against North Carolina State, Dave, for 37 yards for Hayden Fry's Hawkeyes. They have been penalized only once. So now it is second down and 15 at the 45-yard line from the I formation. The give is to Barber, and he is spun down at the line of scrimmage.
Okay, now, Phil, they're in a tough position. They're in third down. It's going to be about third down and 14 with a minute and a half to go. Now you're out of scoring position. So now what you want to do is run that clock. Just let that clock continue to run. Look at the 25-second clock in the end zone and just let it tick down.
3rd and 15. Aubrey Shaw is in the ball game for North Carolina State. He is in the backfield. He's a senior 3rd-string tailback. Iowa again showing blitz. Here they come. Jordan unloads it long, and it'll be way underthrown as Jordan goes down in a sea of white jerseys. Larry Blue is the first man to pop him, the defensive end from Hempstead, New York.
Well, this is a surge. They're bringing a lot of men. I'll tell you this, if Jordan was able to get a little bit more time and hadn't gotten hit, he had Goins in that one-on-one position out there. He might have been able to come down with that football.
Tim Kilpatrick will kick it away. Harold Jasper is back at his own 21-yard line. Skied it. Hunter is down. No flag. Jasper's got it. And Jasper is down at the other end of the field. Well, the boos are from the Wolfpack faithful who have traveled here from Raleigh. They expected a flag to go down on behalf of their punter, Tim Kilpatrick. Now that's the situation thus far. Iowa has scored 2 touchdown receptions by Danon Hughes. HARTLIEB thus far 110 yards. North Carolina State 7 penalties, as I mentioned a moment ago. Anthony Barber 7 rushes, 63 yards, and a touchdown. We are tied 14-14 with 54 seconds to play in the first half. If I know Hayden Fry, he's not going to sit on this lead. That is Paul Kuyawa, the backup fullback, a senior from Cudahy, Wisconsin. He is hit by the nose guard, Ricky Logo.
Well, one of the great things that Hayden Fry does is make those tremendous adjustments at halftime. His team comes out in the second half, and they are an unbelievable football team. They only had 10 points scored against them in the third quarter in the entire last year.
HARTLIEB back across the grain. It is caught by Allen Cross, the tight end, and he gets out of bounds at the 32-yard line. And as I said, Fry doesn't like to sit on anything. A lead, a tie, he's going to go for it whenever his offense has the ball.
Well, I know what I would do now. I'd throw deep. I've got 23 seconds left. Got a couple timeouts. I could throw that ball at least 2 times deep. I'm going to throw it deep this time. Maybe pick up the first down and then take those 3 long, deep passes.
Danon Hughes is to the wide side of the field, and now whistles sound, and we're going to make it a delay of game. The officials are talking it over. I don't know how they could have gotten a delay of game. The clock had not reset down there. That's what they're going to do. They're going to reset the clock.
It's sitting on 0 in the end zone, and it certainly didn't run out. The 25 seconds did not run out on that play.
So now they'll restart. Here we go. 23 seconds to play. HARTLIEB underthrows the coverage. The pass intended for Lou Montgomery. And he was covered by David Merritt. Again, HARTLIEB missed his tight end, Allen Cross, who was crossing wide open.
Well, I'm surprised about that play. It's a 3rd down play. You throw that pass, it's incomplete. You stop the clock. Now you've got to punt the ball. If I'm NC State, I'm coming after it. There's only 18 seconds left on the clock. I'm going to come after it. A lot of things can happen on a punt. I just don't think that Iowa played smart football on that last down.
Liddell George is back to try and return it. Takes an Iowa bounce. Liddell George gets the big hop. And he is tackled at the 31 with 8 seconds to play. A 36-yard punt by Scott Fisher for Liddell George, a 5-yard return. There's George, the 6'1 junior from Havelock, North Carolina. He is already, David, his junior year, the Wolfpack's all-time punt returner in terms of yardage. Broke Jack Whitley's record, held since back in 1970.
Well, if you're NC State, do you throw it long?
I'd go to Eddie Goins, number 19. Watch him.
I'd spread him out, maybe hope for a penalty. They got 3 wideouts at the top of your screen.
And Goins is the one closest to the far sideline. Jordan, he's going down. It's Larry Blue. And that's it. Time has expired in the first half of this 10th Kickoff Classic. And what an entertaining ball game we have seen thus far, Dave. North Carolina State looked so strong early. Iowa, in a methodical way, just kept pounding it in, and we're tied at halftime.
Well, I think Iowa took control of the emotional part of the football game again when they drove down on the field. I think NC State got a little bit conservative. I think they were surprised to be 14-14, but NC State has played a great football game. They have done everything that Dick Sheridan and his staff have asked them to do, and that's why they're 14-14 against this great Iowa Hawkeyes team.
Look at that Iowa team. They all go off as a pack. The first half is in the books. North Carolina State 14, the Iowa Hawkeyes 14. Great. The Kickoff Classic on Raycom is being brought to you by Wrangler, the most comfortable jeans known to man. halftime at this 10th Kickoff Classic from Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The Iowa Hawkeyes 14, the North Carolina State Wolfpack 14. Well, I'll tell you, if you have just joined us, it has been a whale of a first half. North Carolina State really controlled Iowa early on, but Hayden Fry's Hawkeyes weren't about to panic.
Well, they're starting to wear them down a little bit, but NC State came out and they were able to successfully run the football. That was a huge key. Had they not been able to run the football, they would have been in a passing game and been in problems. But they've been running the football very, very well.
Yeah, they've been running it very well, and it began early in this ball game when NC State quarterback Terry Jordan took it 38 yards to set up the first touchdown. And right now, let's look at the first half highlights brought to you by Krylon. It was early in the first quarter. NC State, their first possession. And just look at Jordan go, 38 yards on the option.
Well, I was really surprised. He tried to cut back under the corner here. This is a situation where you just put your head down and run, but it did. It set up that touchdown drive. The first score, 7-0 NC State.
And then Iowa got it rolling. Just watch Danon Hughes.
This is that touchdown pass across the middle where NC State blitzed and missed him, and Hughes just catches it and runs it in with that great speed across the field and into the end zone.
That tied it at 7, and then North Carolina State, Dave, came right back. Anthony Barber, a year ago, #1 in yards per carry in the ACC, and here's one reason why.
Well, a great fake along the line, excellent line blocking, and Barber just puts his head down. 49 yards for the score. This put NC State up 14-7.
Well, Danon Hughes said, I like what Anthony Barber's got, but I like a whole lot more what we've got. And basically, Hughes, a little play action here. HARTLIEB frees the linebacker and drilled a beauty for Hughes, his second touchdown, and that tied it at 14.
When you've watched momentum, Phil, go back and forth. NC State took the momentum early. Now Iowa seems to have taken it back. NC State got a little bit conservative on those last two drives. They can't do that and stay in this football game.
Well, if you're Dick Sheridan and the North Carolina State Wolfpack, you have to love what you've accomplished in the first half. For Iowa, they are broken down right now in the locker room into their positions, and they're talking things over. Right now, speaking of Iowa, let's take you down on the field for some of the pomp and circumstance of the Hawkeye marching band.
For tens of millions of Americans, college football is a true reflection of the American spirit. Hello, I'm Brent Musburger. Nowhere is that spirit more evident than here at the National Football Foundation's College Football Hall of Fame. More than 600 players and coaches are enshrined here. This temple of college football, honoring those who have honored the game, is one of the ongoing commitments of the National Football Foundation. As the umbrella organization for amateur football in America, the National Football Foundation, through its 80 chapters and more than 8,000 members, helps to bring together all of the organized groups that play, coach, administer, support, and report amateur football. Its scholar-athlete programs each year recognize the contributions and achievements of high school and college students who exemplify the Foundation's basic tenets. The National Football Foundation, dedicated to scholarship, citizenship, and athletic performance.
We'll return. Welcome back to Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. We are at halftime. It is Iowa 14, the Wolfpack of North Carolina State 14 in this 10th Kickoff Classic. We welcome you back here to Giant Stadium. Phil Stone, along with the commissioner of the Big Ten, Jim Delaney, who has a rather interesting tie to this ball game because, Jim, you played basketball at North Carolina for Dean Smith and the ACC, and now the commissioner of the Big Ten. Who do you pull for in this one?
Well, obviously, I'm a Big Ten man now, and we've had a great football game here so far. Iowa's a pretty good second-half team. It's a senior-dominated team, and we're going to say go Hawks tonight.
Jim, a quick question. Florida State comes into the ACC this year. Next year, the Big Ten welcomes the Nittany Lions of Penn State in. What's it going to be like? How is that integration process going to occur?
It's gone very well. 14 Penn State teams played last year in Big Ten championships. Men's and women's basketball coming next year, football next year. And Penn State will play an 8-game schedule, as will the other Big Ten teams, and they'll play 8 of the 10 opponents, and then we'll rotate over about a 10-year period. So we're really looking forward to Penn State coming in the Midwest, and Midwestern universities coming into what we consider the eastern fringe now of the Big Ten. So we'll be out here on the coast quite a bit.
Jim, perhaps the most pressing question still to be asked is now, what do you call the Big Ten? You've got 11 schools.
Right, our historic name, of course, is the Big Ten. And in fact, when Chicago went out in 1939, we still kept the name Big Ten. Michigan State was added in the late 40s, Big Ten. What we have is a new mark. I showed it to you a little bit earlier, but we've kept the name Big Ten, and we have number 11 sort of subliminally superimposed between those two. So we're the Big Ten, and we have 3 million living alumni who are proud of being graduates of Big Ten institutions, and that's what we'll be known from here on in.
Now you talk about the Big Ten as a football conference. When the Bowl Alliance takes effect this year, before the Big Ten and the Pac-10 decided to stay out of this alliance in terms of their conference champions, was there any consideration to possibly pulling out of the Rose Bowl?
No consideration. That's a 46-year-old tradition, and it's the granddaddy of them all. We think one of the great sporting events in the world, and there was absolutely no consideration of that. We did have some discussions with the alliance, but we thought it was to our benefit to go with the Citrus Bowl. Our second-place team will be there, playing the SEC runner-up, and our third-place team will play the champion of the WAC out in San Diego. So Pasadena, San Diego, and Orlando, not bad to begin with.
Not a bad trio at all. Jim, congratulations, and thanks for stopping by.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Jim Delaney, the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference. Now don't go away. Halftime activities continue here at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The 10th Kickoff Classic. The Hawkeyes and the Wolfpack tied at 14. The Hawkeyes and the Wolfpack are tied in the 10th Kickoff Classic. At halftime, it is 14-14. And when you talk about North Carolina State, you certainly have to mention the name Jim Valvano. As many of you know, Jim in a battle with cancer. And Jim, I know you're watching at home in Raleigh, North Carolina, and everyone connected with intercollegiate athletics, all of us with the Kickoff Classic and Raycom Sports, wishing you the very, very best.
And Phil, you could tell yesterday when Dick Sheridan talked to us about that very subject, a lot of emotion. They are very, very close friends, and he said to tell Jim he wishes him every best, and he knew he'd be watching tonight.
Let's take a look now at the Quaker State halftime statistics. First downs almost dead even, rushing North Carolina State with 143 yards. And when you look down at total yards, it is still North Carolina State. And I think the time of possession is the one statistic, Dave, that surprises me most.
Well, it certainly does. We didn't think that NC State would be able to control the football against this great Iowa team. But they have controlled the football. They played very well. At the latter stages of the first half, they got a little bit conservative, and I think it cost them. But I can promise you this, Dick Sheridan is in that locker room saying, guys, we can't fold the tent. We got another half of football. And what great teams do is they come out and they say, it's nothing, nothing. We're going out and play it just like we kicked it off again.
Iowa 14, North Carolina State 14. And we'll return after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Network. The Kickoff Classic on Raycom is being brought to you by Skin Bracer Aftershave. More than a great scent by Menon. Hawkeyes are coming back out onto the playing field. The Wolfpack preceded them just a moment ago. Bill Stone along with Dave Rowe here set for the second half of this 10th Kickoff Classic from Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Now, the one thing that Dick Sheridan told us his Wolfpack had to do offensively, Dave, was stay out of third and long situations. And boy, have they done that.
Oh, they certainly have. They've been very, very productive. When they say stay out of third down and long situations, a lot of times coaches will tell you, well, what we make on first down will determine whether we win the football game. And they've been very productive on first downs. They haven't come up with that second down and 10, that third down and 7 to 10 yard situation. They've been coming up third down and 2 and 3. So they have been very successful. We give them an A+ on moving the football on the ground. In a way, they have neutralized Iowa's offensive line. That is another big key, and they capitalized on the turnover. They have had the turnovers go in their way. Now for Iowa, what they had to do is they had to come out and dominate the long line of scrimmage with those big linemen. They really haven't dominated. They got a little bit of domination in that last series. HARTLIEB, I've been very surprised, very poised. I know this is his first year. Force third and long situations, that's the one thing that the Hawkeyes have not been able to do, force NC State into the third and long situations.
Todd Romano is set to boot it away for Iowa. Again, he's the redshirt freshman out of West Palm Beach. And back to receive for North Carolina State, Anthony Barber and Reggie Lawrence. The last time Iowa allowed an opponent to return a kickoff or a touchdown way back in 1976. Lawrence has got it. Stumbling out across the 26-yard line, Teddy Joe Faley cuts his legs out from under him. 22-yard return for Reggie Lawrence.
Look the way Jordan's running out there. That's interesting for a quarterback. He sprinted out there. He wanted to get loose. Again, he has to start again to get that little bit of composure, but he had an excellent first half. 10 of 15, 113 yards. No touchdowns, but also no interceptions.
First down, Wolfpack. Barber. Not much. Mike Wells, a defensive tackle, moves up to cut him down. Mike Wells off the field is about as mild-mannered of young man as you will ever meet. Boy, different story when he puts on the helmet.
Oh, certainly is. Tough. He's one of those linemen that can move along the line. Hayden Fry told us yesterday he will not be handled by one man. Had 12 sacks last year. Did he and Leroy Smith team together? 30 sacks between the two of them.
Anthony Barber again, the setback. Play action. Jordan with time puts it up. It is intercepted by Iowa. Doug Buck has got it, and down he goes at the Wolfpack 32. $14 yards on the interception return. Mike Wells, great pressure on Jordan. Watch him come.
Yeah, but Robert Hinton, number 10, should have had this football. It's right in his hands. It just bounces off his hands. You've got to come down with that. The worst thing you want to do in the secondary if you're a wide receiver is tip the ball up. There's Mike Wells, number 64, rushing in there. He gets good pressure up the middle. He's the man that had those 12 sacks last year.
Little double clutch on the handoff. The ball going to the fullback, Lou Montgomery. He's got 2 yards, and Keith Battle runs up to knock him down.
What a turnover for Iowa. They have to score on this play. They need to capitalize. They need to get that momentum juiced back up again. You're on Iowa. If you're an NC State fan, you're telling your defense, hey, you've got to react. You've got to stop them here. You've got to hold them to at worst a field goal try.
2nd and 10. Lampkin and Montgomery are the running backs. Iowa will come from the I formation. HARTLIEB, play action. Boy, is he handled by Carl Reeves. Had all the time in the world. Can't blame your line for that.
No, but you can say this about Carl Reeves. Great second effort. He was blocked the entire play. He got a real late escape. You'll see it's on the left of your screen. He's blocked. He's not going to be a factor in the play. But he just keeps on coming around. That's that 219-pound defensive end that you talked about. Good speed. Never quit on the play.
3rd down now. And 22. Iowa 2 of 6 in 3rd down conversions. Wolfpack showing blitz. Now they'll drop. HARTLIEB with time. Double pumps, underthrows the coverage. It is caught by his tight end. Alan Cross near the first down, but he'll be short by a couple of yards. 2 years ago, that man right there was a walk-on. Now with 11 starts and 33 catches, he's 2nd team all Big Ten.
Well, this is a play where HARTLIEB is under a lot of pressure. Watch on the backside to right. Again, that's that 219-pounder. That's Carl Reeves, but good play here by NC State to react to it, to hold it, to keep them out of field goal position. You can't ask your defense to do any more than that on a big turnover.
Here is Scott Fisher to kick it away, and they've got nobody back. So Fisher will put it right up in the air. Tries to angle it out of bounds, takes a good bounce, and Iowa covers it. Tremendous punt by Fisher, 32 yards down to the 3-yard line.
And let me tell you, that is good coaching right there. What you tell those linemen is to run downfield, get beyond the ball, turn, and watch the ball run and down it.
John HARTLIEB covered it. 12:22 to play on the 3rd. Team was the defending national champion, but Kickoff Classic 7 is remembered as the liftoff of the rocket. Raghib Ismail and the Fighting Irish were on a mission in the first half and blasted Virginia. And now, 3 years later, an ACC team has returned. North Carolina State playing so well against the Hawkeyes of Iowa. 12:22 to play in the 3rd quarter.
Oh, I saw a movement on the left side of NC State. I think they're going to get half the distance to the goal.
I think it was Sean Johnson, the left guard. You know, Dave, in the pros, the officials tell you who committed the infraction. In the college ranks, they don't tell you. I like it better when I know who did it. How do the players feel?
Too, especially when it was an offensive player. watch on the right of your screen to the top. Watch the flinch there by the 2 offensive linemen. That's the movement. You know what NC State needs to do right here? They need to pass the football. They need to throw it out from this situation. Don't run it.
Greg Maynor, the fullback. Boy, there's a young man, a senior from Rignon, Georgia, Dave. 3 knee operations. Never missed a game at North Carolina State. Says his injured knee is now stronger than his good one.
So what do? They run it. Can you believe that? Make me look good. But I'm serious. I'm an advocate of throwing the football out of here. I know Maynor's got a good yards per carry average. He picked up about 5 yards on that play. But it's awfully difficult when those defensive linemen are jammed in there to run it out.
Maynor again. This time he's not going to fool anybody. Jeff Nelson, number 93, the defensive tackle out of Stillwater, Minnesota, wrapped him up and spun him down.
See, and now you have to throw the football. Now it's going to be 3rd down and 5, and if you don't make it, you're going to be punting from your own end zone.
The Wolfpack 2 of 5 in 3rd down situations here in their season opener. Hard to believe, first time since 1974 that the Wolfpack is opening a collegiate football season on the road. 3 wideouts to the near side on 3rd and 6. Jordan on the crossing pattern. It is caught by Goins. He's got the first down and shoved out of bounds. Great block by Greg Maynor. And finally, Doug Book, the free safety, chased him out.
Well, that was that same slip screen where you throw it out to the wide receiver. Watch Goins, number 19. He's right there. He steps back. Now he picks up the big blocks. Bam, there's one, there's one. Look at those linemen throwing blocks downfield, and Goins just cuts underneath the coverage and picks up that first down. Excellent call by NC State.
I thought picks were only allowed in basketball. Robert Hinton threw a great pick to free up Eddie Goins. First down at the 24-yard line. Jordan puts it up for grabs. It is caught by Ryan Schultz, the tight end. He picks up 7, maybe 8 before Scott Plate dropped him. Scott Plate's older brother started at Michigan. Played a junior from Brooklyn, Michigan. Well, what a rivalry between Iowa and Michigan. Any love lost there?
They usually don't allow brothers to go to another school. Once you start, you were talking about Hilgenbergs today.
Oh, man.
Never let them go to another school.
Jordan over the top, wide open, and Hinton can't hold it. Oh, the junior split in from Gardner, North Carolina, had it and dropped it.
Still, now that ball was behind Hinton a little bit. That's a little bit of an excuse. But if you're a great receiver, you've got to catch this football. It's not that poorly thrown. You've just got to concentrate on that football and bring it in.
3rd down now and 3. NC State in their previous 6 third-down situations have thrown the football. And it's a good bet they're going to put it up in the air here as well. Nope, straight ahead it goes. Greg Maynard, and he is way short of the first down. Blue, Nelson, Brett Bielema, and Mike Wells simply shut down the North Carolina surge.
I was looking for a different play on that play. I wanted to see Jordan pull that ball out and run that option he's been so successful with. He's attacking Iowa at their strength, those big linemen up front. And they didn't get a drop on that. Brought up the 4th down. Now they've got to punt it away.
Here's Kilpatrick standing at his own 18-yard line. Danon Hughes is the deep man for Iowa. And it is Jasper who sprints back now at the 26. He's got it. Great downfield coverage. Terrific coverage by NC State. It was William Strong who tripped him up after Jasper's return of 6. 9:38 to play, and the 3rd quarter will return to the Meadowlands after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Network. Our aerial platform 1,500 feet above Giant Stadium, courtesy of the Goodyear blimp. Spirit from Akron, Ohio, the corporate headquarters for the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. HARTLIEB. Flanker around. Danon Hughes is dropped by Carl Reeves.
Backside containment. On that play, Reeves is the backside containment. He's got to stop every play for coming on the reverse. Watch him on the right of your screen. He's number 85. Get as deep as the deepest man. It doesn't fool him. And the result is a 13-yard loss, a heads-up play by a young man.
Watch Ricky Logo, the nose guard here. Look at this. He's the head cheerleader of the Wolfpack on that play. I don't know if I'd want a guy 6'1", 278 pounds jumping up and down on me. I think I'd head for the stands. 2nd down and 23. HARTLIEB. Montgomery. The fullback out across the 30-yard line. And he'll get 10 yards back. Sebastian Savage is the one who finally dropped him.
I watched Logo on that play. Now he's getting doubled on every play. But this is a good play by the nose tackle. Well, let me show you what he does. He gets in there, he occupies 2 men. Now he sees the screen. He starts running the line. Stay in square. Don't allow the back, once he catches the ball, to turn back up. And he almost makes a tackle. That's a good play by a nose tackle.
3rd down and a little more than 10. HARTLIEB again. It is caught by Harold Jasper, and whoa, is he smashed by Ricky Turner. He'll be short of the 1st down, I believe, but they're going to stop the clock to take the measurement.
Oh, it all depends where. He didn't make an inch once he caught that football. It depends where they spot it. They may have to. Well, they're going to signal 1st down. But he didn't make an inch once he caught that football. He was lucky to hold on. He took quite a shot in the back.
Ricky Turner, a senior free safety from Graham, North Carolina.
Good look off there by HARTLIEB, looking to the weak side, now finding his receiver. And watch this, once he catches it, bam, he is dropped.
Ricky Turner doing what used to be done to him. Turner, a former wide receiver, made defensive back before the 1991 season. HARTLIEB out to his tight end. Crosses the 46 and lassoed around the neck and spun out of bounds by Tyler Lawrence. Second down and 6. The ball at the 46-yard line. There is Jim HARTLIEB, the 6'2 senior. Backed up Matt Rogers at Iowa for the last 2 years. Strongest runner Hayden Fry has ever had at quarterback. HARTLIEB has hit on 8 of his last 9 passes. There's the draw. It is Lemkin, loses the football, and it is out of bounds. Iowa will retain possession, but where the ball went out of bounds. Keith Battle is the man who stuck his hand in and knocked that ball out of Lemkin's grasp.
You know, from the blimp, we could probably get a good idea of the adjustment Lampkin makes. Now, watch right here when he gets the football. This is draw. Now, right there when he gets it, he's got to find the hole. You see the other running back coming up there and blocking. He skips outside. Boy, coaches would love to have that picture to scout teams by. Shows the movement of every player.
David Merritt is the man who knocked the ball loose. And now it's 3rd down and 5 at the 47. HARTLIEB, he can run for the first down. He's going to do it. He'll take it out at the 42-yard line of NC State. Now there's a good look at what Hayden Fry is so happy about, the fact that he has got one of the most mobile quarterbacks in all America. I'll tell you what, he can flat out tuck it away and go. And I suppose when you had an arm like Chuck Long, the guy who threw for 10,000 yards in the Big Ten, the runner up to the Heisman in '85, Long and guys of his ilk didn't have to run.
Well, they found their wideouts. But you have to credit HARTLIEB for finding that little seam and picking up that first down. That demoralizes the defensive secondary because they're fighting their heart out trying to cover their man, and all of a sudden he scampers for the first down.
From the 43-yard line. Out of the eye, it is Lampkin. Takes it out to the right side and runs helmet to helmet with Dwayne Washington.
You know, for a guy who's 5'10", only weighs 202 pounds, that Lampkin's got great leg strength. When he got hit that time, he just kept those legs churning. Coaches love that. They call it yards after contact. What do you do after you're hit? Do you just fall down? The good backs don't. The good backs just keep those legs churning, and they always pick up that extra 1 or 2 or 3 yards.
Now Lampkin last year played with a stress fracture for the second half of the season. Carried the ball only 4 times in Iowa's last 7 games. You can just tell he is primed and ready to go. He's healthy. He wants the football. And now HARTLIEB wants a timeout on 2nd down and 3. The ball at the 36. So the clock stops with 6 minutes and 28 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. It's Iowa 14, the Wolfpack 14. 6:28 to play in the 3rd quarter. It's Iowa 14, NC State 14. Now there's a touch of sadness here in this 1992 season for the offensive linemen of Iowa, all of whom were stunned last winter when their offensive line coach John O'Hara died of a heart attack while on a Caribbean cruise, and all of the players are wearing JBO on the thigh of their uniform pants throughout this 1992 campaign. That's Danon Hughes. He has got both of Iowa's touchdowns. And he steps out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Dwayne Washington had a hold of him. Dwayne Washington went to the same high school as his teammate, that defensive tackle we've been talking about, Carl Reeves, in Durham, North Carolina.
You know he's going to see a lot of action because the other cornerback, Sebastian Savage, is so good that they throw away from Savage's area.
First and 10, Iowa. At the Wolfpack 30. That's Lampkin. He is grabbed by the ankle. Ball pops up. Tyler Lawrence grabbed him. Who's got the football? The Hawkeyes said they came down with it. And this team of Big East officials agree. It is Iowa's football. Lou Montgomery actually covered Lampkin's bobble.
Well, you had to love talking with Hayden Fry yesterday. I mean, he had this little theory about his offense. He said, we just kind of scratch where it itches. That was one of the comments. Good chance there for NC State to recover, but they did not on that play. That would have been a big turnover for that defense.
Now Lampkin is going to come out and take a rest. Lou Montgomery is the lone setback. Wide to the right at the top of your screen is Danon Hughes as the Hawkeyes go to a double tight end formation. HARTLIEB, ball is tipped in and out of the arms of the backup tight end Matt Whitaker.
That's what you want to do if you're one of those defensive linemen. On that play, you start to rush, you're in your lane, and as you see the quarterback start to come forward, you get those big hands up. It's kind of like throwing through the trees.
Checking back into the ball game, Alan Cross, the senior tight end from San Diego. Boy, walk-ons. Alan Cross is one of them. They played a major role in Fry's 13 years at Iowa. Devin Harberts led the Hawkeyes in receiving in '88. John Falloon. Quarterback draw. It is HARTLIEB. Carl Reeves with great pressure. He's the one that forced HARTLIEB around the right side. HARTLIEB following Mike Baroni and Bob Reese over the right side.
One of the things that NC State told us that they needed to do was to react quickly to the football, use their speed. When you look at Carl Reeves, he's never going to attack anybody physically, weighing only 219 pounds, but great speed around that end. He's the one that slowed up HARTLIEB and brings up this 4th down situation.
So now it is 4th down and 4. This is Todd Romano. His first field goal attempt as a Hawkeye, and now he's got flags that are flying all over the place. We may have a delay of game against Iowa, and I think that's what it is. Boy, that'll drive Hayden Fry bananas. It is delay of game Hawkeyes.
That really changes the complexion of this kick, because it moves it back, and now it's a long kick. Now it's going to be like 46 yards if they do kick it. I think they may punt in this situation. That's an interesting call. 29-yard line, you may punt.
Scott Fisher comes on.
Look at Hayden Fry on the sideline. I mean, he was mad.
Fisher right up the elevator shaft. Iowa covered one of these a few moments ago. They're going to cover another one at the 1-yard line. Hawkeye special teams tonight have played stellar football. 4:19 to play in the 3rd quarter. Marcus Porter pins NC State deep. Remaining in the 3rd, we are still tied at 14.
Phil, on that last punt, that is a huge play. This is defense. What you do is you coach this. You let the ball bounce. You see all the men stand along the goal line? They're letting that ball roll right down to them. They're all making sure. That's just not a luck play. That is a practiced play.
Second time here in the 2nd half. North Carolina State is pinned deep.
Well, do they have the courage to try and throw it from out of here?
Full house backfield for the Wolfpack. Hawkeye fans on their feet. The give straight ahead. It is the fullback Greg Maynor. He is going to see the ball almost exclusively in this portion of the field.
I want to tell you, if Terry Jordan had pulled that ball out and ran around right end, he'd still be running. I look for him to fake in there, pull that ball out, and go around the end. He's been very successful with that flash out on the option and turning it up for big yardage. He's got Iowa in tight trying to protect. It's a great chance to go wide.
At the bottom of your screen, the flanker, Ray Griffiths. 2nd down and 7. Maynor once more. He'll pick up another 2, maybe 3. Dave, you realize the last time a North Carolina State team opened on the road, you know who was head coach at NC State?
How about Lou Holtz?
Lou Holtz.
All right. I got one right.
Boy, it's been a long, long time. Third and 3. Ball spotted at the 8. Maynor again, and he'll be awfully close to the 1st down.
This depends strictly upon the mark. If he had to make it to about the 12-yard line, it's going to be awfully close. NC State players were signaling 1st down, and so is the official. That was an interesting series. I did not think NC State would be able to run the ball on the ground 3 consecutive plays and pick up a 1st down on that series.
You go back a year ago, Iowa, this Iowa defense held Wisconsin to 82 yards rushing and passing. That was the best effort by any team in Division I football last year. 82 total yards rushing and passing. Jordan right over the top. It is caught. Neil Auer, the tight end's got it, and he's tackled at the 32. Jason Olenczak, the junior strong safety from Decorah, Iowa, on the tackle.
Auer told me yesterday, he said, I want to make the fans up in Fairview, North Carolina happy, and he made them happy with that play. Puts that head down, big target out there, 6'6", about 250 pounds. He comes down with a huge reception.
There's the young man, the senior from Fairview, North Carolina. It is 1st and 10, Wolfpack. Option. Jordan spins. Oh, what a fake. He keeps the football out across the 40, near the 41, a gain of 8. Matt Hilliard cut his feet out from under him. Had he pitched the ball to Anthony Barber, Barber would have been a dead duck.
Well, I thought for a second at the tail end of this play he was going to try and pitch it. Watch here when he turns up. Now look, he looks back at Barber. Watch right here when he comes down outside. Right in there, he looks back to Barber. Barber was right outside of him. That would have been an interesting play.
Barber and Maynor are the setbacks. In motion, Reggie Lawrence. First man through is Maynor. And he has the Wolfpack first down again. Maynor runs head-to-head with Matt Hilliard. Iowa defensively a year ago in 12 football games. Look at that. They held their opponents to 10 points in the third quarter. That's 10 points total, not per game.
12 opponents.
1st and 10, North Carolina State at the 45-yard line. Jordan looking to the near side, looking and missing Robert Hinton. Great coverage on the play by Scott Plate.
Oh, he had Auer again right down the middle on a seam pass, and Auer was running all by himself. The safety late came over, but Auer was wide open.
Few people may not realize it, Dave, but this Atlantic Coast Conference has produced 3 national champions. Maryland in '53, of course, Clemson in '81, and Georgia Tech back in 1990 with a share of the title. 2nd down and 10. Jordan audibilizing, one of the few times we have seen that tonight. Here comes Iowa. Pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage, and I think the guy who got his hands on it was Maria Crane. We have a flag down.
That flag may go against Iowa. It looked like they came off the ball a little bit early. Oh, that'll sure grade the hair of a coach. When he looks out there and you've come up with a big play, and then you give him a free 5 yards.
2nd down.
The defensive ends, John Hartlieb and Larry Blue, were coming. There was no doubt about it. I'm not sure which one stepped across the line. But it's now 2nd and 5 for NC State. At the midfield stripe, we're tied at 14 with 1:17 to go in the third period. Barber and Maynor are the setbacks. That's Barber. He is lassoed by John Hartlieb. The ball is on the carpet, and Iowa's got it. The Hawkeyes have recovered. Hartlieb knocked it loose.
And Doug Book recovered that football. On that play, Barber never got his balance again. He liked to have gotten his head taken off right here when he goes outside. And when he comes back up, he just loses the football, actually throws it out. Looked like he may have even kicked it out with his knee.
There's the situation. NC State with 3 turnovers now. Iowa with just 1. Wide to the left is Harold Jasper. He's drawing single coverage by Sebastian Savage. Naked draw. Look at Hartlieb. He's all alone.
Phil, everybody bit on the play. It was a naked reverse by Hartlieb. He faked it so well. He even slowed down once he faked the handoff to allow the defensive players to react to the play. They all bit on the fake, and he came naked reverse down the sideline. Outstanding call.
37-yard gain for Hartlieb. What a night he is having running the football. 8 carries, 48 yards for the quarterback, Jim Hartlieb. 59 seconds left in the third period. The ball on the Wolfpack 13-yard line. It is 1st and 10 Iowa. And the Hawkeyes want to talk it over as Hartlieb will trot to the near side. Now that 37-yard run is the longest run in Kickoff Classic history. And boy, that is so hard to believe. And you have had some of the great names playing in this classic over the years. This is the 10th Kickoff Classic. 5 years ago, Hayden Fry brought a team in here, and they were beaten by Tennessee 32-31. And speaking of Tennessee, we want to say hello to Johnny Majors, who is recuperating from quadruple bypass surgery.
I heard it was quintuple. That's 5.
Wow.
That's about as many as you can get, I imagine. But we certainly do send good wishes to him. He's one of the legends, just like Hayden Fry in this football, the game of football.
Now you talk about Hayden Fry, his era at Iowa. What an illustrious history it has been. Take a look. His 14th year, 10 bowl appearances, 3 times Big Ten Coach of the Year. He's got 3 Big Ten championships. 14 first team All-American candidates and 7 consensus All-Americans. Boy, he's had some good ones. 31 years in the coaching ranks. His defensive coordinator has spent 20 of those 31 years with him, Bob Brashear. Straight ahead it goes. It's the fullback, Lou Montgomery.
Well, you remember that Brashear was from Eastland, Texas, and so is Hayden Fry. That was an interesting story. Both of them being from Eastland, Texas, they called it a mecca. They said there's 1,701 people in Eastland, Texas. They said there's still 1,701 people in Eastland, Texas. Both of them born the same year. I think they were only 4 months apart. Really an interesting story.
2nd down and 7, Iowa. Out of the I formation. The deep back is Lampkin. HARTLIEB blindsided, and he's going down at the 19-yard line. Whoa, what a hit by Damon Covington.
I wondered how Covington did not knock this ball loose. How did HARTLIEB manage to hold on to the football? He never saw Covington from the backside, the left of your screen. Watch this. Bam. How did he keep that football in there?
Covington, I mean, he took the beeline around Bob Reese and Mike Ferroni on the right side of that Iowa offensive line. And that will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. North Carolina State 14, the Hawkeyes 14, and we'll return to Giant Stadium after these messages from your local station. Take a look at those signs. It says, we're from Dave Rowe's hometown. Well, partner, you brought some cheerleaders with you.
Asheboro, North Carolina. We did. 2 sets of cheerleaders. You see right there, Southeast Guilford High School. Their cheerleaders came up from Greensboro, North Carolina on bus, and so did Southwest Randolph High School cheerleaders. Came all the way up 12 hours on a bus to cheer for NC State.
The Hawkeyes have the football. It is 3rd and 15 at the 18. HARTLIEB with time. He's going to the end zone looking for Hughes. Did he come down with the ball? No. It knocked out of his hands by Sebastian Savage.
Did you see how high Hughes went? You talk about climbing the ladder. That young man looked like he had a step ladder out there. The defensive back loses sight of the ball. He turns his back on it, but watch Hughes leap in the end zone. He comes up in the air. See, the defensive back doesn't have his eyes. Look how high he is. Oh my goodness, he almost came down with that football.
Todd Romano will attempt a 36-yarder from the hold of Paul Burmeister. It's long enough. It is wide to the right. Romano misses wide right, and the Wolfpack has held. Now take a look.
Yeah.
Hayden Fry stops Todd Romano as he comes over. Romano is the redshirt freshman out of West Palm Beach, Florida. That's the first time, Dave, that Todd Romano has missed a kick inside 48 yards since he has been kicking. He never missed one in high school inside 48. That's Greg Maynard, the fullback for North Carolina State, as he takes it out across the 25 near the 28.
And another huge series for NC State. They need to get something going on offense. Their defense has been shutting down Iowa. Whenever you come up with a field goal miss, your defense has done it. Now it's time for NC State's offense to take control of this football game, to move downfield, get a little bit of continuity, pick up 2 or 3 of those first downs to keep the defense off the field. Rest them.
In motion, Reggie Lawrence. Anthony Barber's got the football as he comes to the near side, cuts it back across the grain, runs out of the grasp of HARTLIEB, and out of bounds he goes at the 38. And I think we've got a face mask by Scott Plate. Oh, is it a big face mask. Barber is hot, and rightfully so.
Barber doesn't want to get a personal foul called on him for his reaction, but you're right, it's going to be a face mask. It's going to be tacked on.
And that is going to be the 15-yard variety. Not incidental. Nothing incidental about this grasp.
Look at this cut all the way back against the grain. Great fake right there. Freezes John HARTLIEB in his tracks. And there's the face mask. Now that's 15 yards. If you ever saw 15 yards, that's it. When you use the face mask to tackle him, well, he pulled him completely around.
I've heard of decleaters. That's a defacer. It comes with 14:06 to play in the game. 1st and 10, North Carolina State, as this Big East officiating crew walks off the big one. 15 yards to the Hawkeye 47. Barber and Maynor are the backs. Jordan pitches to Barber. Got a big hole. To the 27-yard line. And what a block by Neil Auer, the tight end.
And the defense is saying, don't tackle him by the face mask again. Look, he's upset. Great run that time by Barber. Great concentration on the pitch. That's what's so hard, to catch that pitch and try to look up and see who's coming. Good pitch there by Jordan down the line. And watch Barber when he gets it now. Good break to the outside. And again, just keep on rumbling. Keep those feet going. Keep them moving. Tuck that ball away. Pick up that first down.
From the 26, there's Maynor as he slices inside the 24 down near the 23. He follows Sean Johnson, the junior guard, and Eric Taylor, the left tackle.
A lot of emotion on that offensive line of NC State. Those big men up front, the Hogs, I guess you'd call them, they're rooting them out right now.
A gain of 3. It is 2nd down and 7. Clock running. 13-12 to play on the game. Hinton and Eddie Goins, the wideouts, are at the top of your screen. North Carolina State out of the eye. Jordan rolling right. Chased and dropped. What a run by Larry Blue. I'll tell you, Blue, 6'2", 245 pounds, and he ran step for step with Terry Jordan.
Hayden Fry said he is an outstanding football player. He doesn't let anything get outside of him. That's what he did on that play. Turned it back inside. There's the receivers. You can see they're not open there. Well, right there, late. That's Robert Hinton. But again, look at the pressure by Blue right here. Get that big hand on some of the great tackles. Some of the great tackles are made by the shirt sleeve.
3rd sack for Larry Blue tonight. 3rd and 17. And Jordan's got nowhere to go. Again, it is Larry Blue.
I was just going to say, 4th sack.
That's not surprising for Larry Blue. I remember a game last year, 2 fumble recoveries against the Cyclones of Iowa State, and one of them Blue took in for a touchdown. 4th down now and 16. This is Tim Kilpatrick.
Boy, does that hurt your offense when you have 1st down on the 26-yard line, and now you have to end up punting.
Kilpatrick. Right up in the air.
We've seen that before, haven't we?
Iowa have done it twice to North Carolina State. Now the Wolfpack returns the favor. 11 minutes and 36 seconds to play. This second half has been a game of field position. 11:36 remaining. Along with Dave Rowe, I'm Phil Stone. This has been a great one. Iowa and North Carolina State are tied at 14. Hawkeyes with the ball at their own 4-yard line. That is Lou Montgomery, the fullback. Out across the 15 near the 18. Great downfield block by Matt Whitaker, the tight end. Boy, last year, that man right there, Lou Montgomery, a 6', 212-pound fullback, rambled 121 times for 500 yards. His longest run from scrimmage against the Buckeyes of Ohio State in Columbus last year. It went for 43 yards.
And he was just as effective coming out of the backfield catching at 35 catches.
He's got it again. He's across the 20 out near the 22. So on 2nd down and 6, there is 11:01 to play in the ball game. Tonight's game is being brought to you by Sports Cream. Strong, fast pain relief, and no odor. HARTLIEB 16 of 25 with 2 touchdowns. And it is Montgomery once more. A flag is down. Mike Harrison, a true freshman out of Camden, New Jersey, jumps on Montgomery and brought him down at out near the 28.
Oh, and this will drive an offensive coordinator crazy. You're picking up about 5 yards per run. They're real close to a first down. Now it's going the opposite way because you've got a holding call.
Offense. 10-yard penalty. Spun a foul. Second down.
Well, Iowa offensive coordinator Don Patterson, he's been with Hayden Fry 16 years, and I'll tell you what, Don Patterson is wincing when he sees this.
You can see there, it's a wave of white jerseys going up there, and instead of picking up 5 yards, they lose 10 yards on the holding call, so it's a 15-yard penalty. More importantly, second down and 15 yards to go.
HARTLIEB has already thrown for 162 yards, and he'll try and add to that total. Double pumps to the strong side, throws out to the weak side, underthrows the coverage, hits his tight end Matt Whitaker.
Phil, we talked earlier that the secondary was one of the strong points of this NC State team. They are doing a good job of covering the deep receivers. A lot of times HARTLIEB has had time to look downfield, but those wideouts that are running those deeper patterns are covered very well, and that's causing him to go underneath to his tight end and drop to his backs. Good coverage by that secondary.
3rd and 12. The ball nosing the 17-yard line. Iowa with 16 first downs in the game. Naked reverse. HARTLIEB. This time it fools nobody. John Akins, the defensive tackle, a junior from Fouquet-Varina, North Carolina, knocks him down.
How'd you say that? Fouquet?
You like that?
It's Fuquay-Varina.
All right, all right. I had half of it right.
You did, buddy. Well, that was a different one for HARTLIEB. When he turned around there, Tyler Lawrence was standing there, too, smiling at him.
Scott Fisher is going to put his foot to the ball. Liddell George, number 16, is back at his own 42. George has got it at the 45. And he's got a Hawkeye in his face. And down he goes at the 41. 36 yards on the punt. Matt Hilliard brought George down after a -3-yard return. So the clock stops with 9 minutes and 32 seconds to play. Our score at halftime was 14-all. It still is. 9:32 to play. Iowa and North Carolina State tied at 14. The Wolfpack at their own 43-yard line. This is the best field position they have had all night to start a drive. Jordan pressured. And out of bounds he goes. Jason Olenczak had him. He ran right out of his grasp.
You called it right out of the grasp. He doesn't really have time to look downfield. Watch him break this tackle. Breaks tackle, comes back around. He just scampers and makes what's going to be a loss of 5 to 7 yards. Makes it into about a 3-yard gain.
Dick Sheridan told us yesterday, he said, you know, my quarterback reminds me so much of a linebacker. He's really a linebacker playing quarterback. I like Terry Jordan. This time around the left side, nobody out in front of him, and he still gains 3 or 4. And he has been bent backwards by 3 Hawkeyes, led by the cornerman Carlos James.
Now, the one thing NC State does not want to do in this situation is give the football back to Iowa. This is a 2 tight end situation. It's going to be down 3rd down and 1. We always look for that, pull it down and throw the ball, and Sheridan told us he would do it. But I think in this situation he's going to go with a safe run, trying to pick up the first down.
Well, he's got the 2 tight ends there, Neil Auer and Ryan Schultz. The bunched formation, the Hawkeyes will try and contend with this Wolfpack power eye. Jordan, he's got the first down. Across the 40, still on his feet to the 32-yard line, and down he goes. Carlos James and John HARTLIEB combine on the tackle. What a run.
It's almost as if Iowa has not seen the option play run like this. Iowa's perhaps more used to Big Ten offenses, which is power football. But every time Jordan has been able to come down the line, do that little flash, quick out with the ball, then bring the ball down. He has picked up positive yards. That time he would have broke it all the way had he not run into his running back.
Double wide receivers to the bottom of your screen. That is Anthony Barber moving to the right again. It is Jordan. And he won't get much. A yard, maybe two. Dave, I'm not certain. Was that a busted play?
Well, I thought it was, but perhaps he took a lesson from HARTLIEB and just said, I'll try a naked reverse one time.
Look at those numbers. Terry Jordan, 12 carries for 71 yards. You simply can't say enough about the offensive game plan devised by the Wolfpack offensive coordinator Ted Kane in his 7th season in Raleigh.
Phil, we talked about that rushing statistic. When they rush over 200 yards, they are 20-0-1. They've got 234 yards rushing.
Jordan underthrows Reggie Lawrence, and he was wide open.
You can see Jordan kneel over there, kind of bend over. That's a composure grabber. What you do is you're upset at yourself. You don't show it to your teammates. You turn and you just go, I should have done it.
That's Reggie Lawrence limping off. You know, for those of you watching, this is certainly no fluke that North Carolina State is tied with Iowa. You go back to 1989. This Wolfpack averaged over 400 yards of total offense a game. I'll tell you, they can flat out move it offensively, and they can stuff you defensively. Jordan. Out it goes. Caught on a knee by Eddie Goins, and he'll be down right there. No gain. It'll be 4th down and 7.
This is a tough situation. They want to kick a field goal, but it would be about a 46 to 47 yard field goal. That's a little bit long. Watch this knee on this play. You can't put that knee down in college because you can't get back up. You're down right there.
So Steve Viditek is on to attempt a 46-yard field goal. From the hold of Tim Kilpatrick. Is it straight enough? Whoa, he nailed it. He nailed it.
Phil, that thing would have been good from 55 yards. That ball had a low trajectory. When it crossed the goal post, it was about 10 foot high, but it was still climbing. Wow, what a kick.
His first field goal as a North Carolina State Wolfpack player, Steve Viditek. And with 6 minutes and 50 seconds to play, it is now NC State 17. The Hawkeyes, who have never led, 14. North Carolina State, they have never trailed, and now they are out in front 17-14 with 6 minutes and 50 seconds to play. For NC State, here is Jimmy Sixeye. And he will let it set sail. And back deep for Iowa is Damon Hughes and Harold Jasper. Short kick. Way short. Jasper at the 25. Stopped at the 39.
Phil,
a 14-yard kickoff return by Jasper.
Phil, we need to take another look at that kick. I want to tell you, that ball barely crossed the heads. Look how low it was going across. When it carried, I mean, it crossed the goalpost. Look where it crosses the goalpost. Look how high it was. It was 12, 15 feet above the crossbar.
From the 39-yard line, they'll call it the 40. It is 1st and 10, Iowa. HARTLIEB underthrows the coverage all night long. He does it again. This time his tight end, Matt Whitaker, comes up with a football, and he is banged into and knocked down by Greg Gianamore.
I think the last thing that Dick Sheridan wanted to do is concede field position on that last kick. To give them the ball out at the 40-yard line, that is not what he wanted to do. He wanted to pin them deep. Got a terrible kickoff.
A gain of 6. Well, there is the score by quarters. North Carolina got a touchdown in the first period. Iowa got their 2 TDs by Damon Hughes in the second quarter. NC State leading it 17-14. That is Paul Kuyawa. a fullback from Cudahy, Wisconsin. Third down now, and a long three. The Hawkeyes have never led, and boy, look at the Wolfpack defense bunch up. Montgomery, he is way short. John Akins is the first man who pressured him, and David Merritt popped him.
There has been a battle up front all night long. It's been the defensive line and the offensive line of Iowa. Ricky Logo's the leader up front there, number 90. Quite a story. Doubled every time. Look at that. Make a pile. Don't give an inch. Let somebody else get in there. Quite a story on Ricky Logo. Of course, you know the story. Could have been a king.
Well, he could have been a king of American Samoa. His grandfather wanted him to come home to Samoa and become king. Told his grandfather that he just couldn't do it right now. Had to continue his education. Fourth down and 3. HARTLIEB. It is intercepted by North Carolina State. Mike Reed.
That is a really surprising play to me. I didn't think that Iowa would gamble like that. If you don't complete the play, you're going to give the ball up at midfield or in your own field position. They gambled, and they did give it up via the interception. A real surprising play. No one to go. NC State plays along the line very, very well. Hartley just throws it up for grabs. See, there's the interception, and down the sideline goes Mike Reed.
Mike Reed, who sat out the 1990 season with a neck injury because of a car accident, came back last year, had 83 tackles and 2 interceptions, and he's picked off his first one here in 92. There is Gary Downs, spun down at the 25-yard line. Doug Book knocks him off his feet.
And now if you're in that NC State huddle, what you're saying is don't fumble, protect the ball, both hands on it when you break through. Stay in bounds, keep the clock running. He ran out of bounds that time, stopped the clock, but he did pick up 9 yards. And you remember Iowa wasted those 2 timeouts early in the third quarter. For what reason, we don't know, but they called 2 times. They called timeouts when HARTLIEB looked up. Rather than audible, he called a timeout.
Straight up the gut it goes once more. Greg Maynard rambles for about 5. A first down for North Carolina State. Now, Dick Sheridan said earlier in the week, unless you play good teams and test yourself against other good teams, you'll never know really what kind of football team you are. Well, he's finding out what kind of team his Wolfpack is tonight. That is Liddell George as he goes for 7 yards.
Well, one thing that the Wolfpacks has been able to do is get a fast start every year under Sheridan. They win their first 4 or 5 games. Last year he won 7 in a row. Here's his start after this. After this game, he goes against Appalachian State, then comes back Maryland, Florida State, 5th ranked. Carolina's always a big game at Georgia Tech, and of course Texas Tech.
Florida State begins its first year of play in the ACC this year. That is Liddell George as he slices his way up behind Todd Ward and Sean Johnson.
This is going to be close to a first down. They're going to have to unpile, and I believe it's going to be a first down. He's inside the 10-yard line. The NC State players, when they're running up there with the football, those running backs, they've got that ball covered.
North Carolina State, their 23rd first down in the ball game. Iowa, conversely, with just 16. Iowa's rushing defense has been nationally ranked 7 of the last 10 years, but the pack is running wild tonight.
Who would ever have thought NC State would rush 44 times for 259 yards, a 5.9-yard average every time they run.
That's the junior tailback from Columbus, Georgia, Gary Downs. He scored the first touchdown of this ball game way back on North Carolina State's first possession.
You remember that statistic about 200 yards rushing? We never thought we'd even come into play. Under Dick Sheridan, they are 22-0-1 when they rush for over 200 yards.
Clock running, 2:35, 2:34. It is second and goal, NC State. Again, it is Gary Downs, and this time he creases the 4-yard line. Checking back into the ball game, Robert Hinton, the junior, split in. And he started to go in. Now it is Eddie Goins who trots onto the field, and he'll replace Reggie Lawrence.
I don't think you have to much worry about the wide receivers. If I was in this situation, I'm going to run the football game again. Now it's third down. He may want to pass it, but boy, you keep that clock going if you run.
I'm looking for his tight end. Over the middle, it is caught. Touchdown for Eddie Goins.
Surprising play, but an excellent call. When you have someone like Terry Jordan back there who can give, then you've got Goins on the outside with that crossing speed. He's done it 3 times tonight. He found him.
Dave, a year ago against Duke, Eddie Goins made one of the greatest catches I have ever seen. A one-hand snag, good for 49 yards to the Blue Devil 1 late in the ball game. North Carolina State took it in from there and won the game 32-31. Eddie Goins is a big play wide receiver. The point after is good, and with 1:53 to go in the ball game, it is NC State 24, Iowa 14.
Everybody now in the ACC is standing up and taking notice of this NC State team. No one thought they would come in and do this.
We'll return after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Network. Carolina State leading the Hawkeyes of Iowa 24-14. Picked up by a linebacker across the 35, out across the 37, near the 38. A 13-yard return by David Mitchell. Now the Spirit is one of 3 Goodyear blimps and measures 200 feet long. It's 60 feet high. And boy, what a tremendous vantage point from which to bring you some great pictures of this 10th Kickoff Classic. First and 10, Iowa. Trimp wideouts, 3 wide receivers to the bottom of your screen. Out of the shotgun comes HARTLIEB. Flag is down. HARTLIEB again underthrows the coverage. Montgomery's got it across the 45 and down at the 47.
All you want to do in this situation is keep them in bounds, let them have a little bit of yardage. You know you're going to get the football back. Iowa has 1 timeout. This play is going to be negated by that illegal motion. It's going to come back. So instead of picking up 9, 10 yards, about 8, 9 yards, they're going to go back for a 5-yard penalty. And more importantly, they've wasted time off the clock.
And Iowa down by 10 with 1:40 to go. That has to be of some concern, certainly. But what is really of concern is a week from now when the Hawkeyes return home to tangle with the Miami Hurricanes. Miami, winners of 4 national titles over the past 9 years. Dave, I think the only comparable streak was Notre Dame's 4 titles in 7 years back in the 40s. First and 15 now from the 34. Again from the shotgun. HARTLIEB. It is caught. And out of bounds scampers Harold Jasper. While we have a moment, we want to thank our spotters for our Kickoff Classic. Jim Stamos, Don Lewis, and Richard Annis, and our statsman here at Giant Stadium, Andy Prince. Gentlemen, the job very, very well done. .119 to play in the ball game. Straight ahead it goes. That is Scooter Lampkin down to the Wolfpack 37. Ricky Turner covers him.
Well, Phil, as the clock ticks down, I've got to say, go Fork Union. That's where my boy is. You know, it's interesting. Dick Sheridan said they have 4 players from Fork
Union. You bet. I'll tell you, Fork Union has turned out some tremendous ball players.
Oh boy, I walked down there and I saw some of the players. Vinny Testaverde, Don Mikowski, Mike Quick, John Schumann and his staff. They're certainly keeping those boys nice and warm this time of year.
Now they bounced it in, no catch. A one-hopper to Harold Jasper. Be sure and stay tuned for the end of tonight's game. Dave and I will be selecting the Sports Cream player of the game. 2nd down and 10 now as the clock stops with 1:04 remaining.
This has got to be so disheartening for Hayden Fry. He came in here with all his 5th-year seniors. His offensive line was supposed to dominate, but they have not dominated. That was probably the biggest surprise to me. I thought Iowa would be able to come in here with those big seniors, 284-pound average across the front line, and I thought they would just run the football down NC State's throat.
And Hughes to the 14-yard line. Finally tonight, Iowa is beginning to pass the vertical game, Dave, and I was going to ask you early in the 3rd quarter, why has HARTLIEB thrown so much underneath stuff? 5, 7, 9 yards.
Well, the defensive secondary from NC State has really given ground, and now they're letting them catch it underneath. But early in the football game, they were covering those wideouts, and that's why HARTLIEB was having to dump to his backs. Right now, they're playing prevent defense. Just make them catch it in front of them.
Oh, is Harold Jasper nailed by Mike Reed. Reed, the junior strong safety from Pacelot, South Carolina, and now we've got a timeout called by Iowa, and this is their final timeout. It comes with 34 seconds to play. 34 seconds to play in this 10th Kickoff Classic. North Carolina State leads it by 10.
Well, you want to see what it's like when a quarterback is under pressure. Bam! Right in that short rib cage. Down he goes. Carl Reeves has been in that backfield all night long.
One thing Iowa will take away from this game is the simple fact that in the ACC, they play stick-'em defense. Bunched formation on 2nd down and 6 from the 10-yard line in motion. Hughes. HARTLIEB looking for him. Hit from the backside. It'll be no catch. No catch.
Guess who? Tyler Lawrence around the outside. Great pressure from the outside linebacker, Tyler Lawrence, on that play. If NC State is not ranked any higher than 4th in the ACC, do you know what the teams above them are going to be like? Wow.
I'm sure Bobby Bowden's getting a good look at this ball game. NC State will take on Florida State on September 19th. They last met way back in 1969. But next up for the Wolfpack, Appalachian State, a team they beat 56-0 back in 1990. HARTLIEB to the near side. It is caught by Alan Cross, and he is jumped on at the 7-yard line by William Strong. 20 seconds, 19. The Iowa Hawkeyes cannot stop the clock.
And what you do if you're on defense, you just slowly walk back.
He's going down.
Guess who?
It is Tyler Lawrence, and that's going to end this ball game, I believe. Clock is stopped with 5 seconds left. And that is it. On change of possession, the Wolfpack has the football.
All they have to do is take one snap, kneel down. I don't think there were many people who gave NC State a chance in this football game. The musts that we talked about were so demanding. They had to be able to run the football against Iowa. They did that. They had to neutralize that offensive line. They did that. They had to have Terry Jordan come back like he did last year, have that same leadership, and he did. And that man right there, Dick Sheridan, put together a whale of a game plan.
And that is the final play of this 10th Kickoff Classic. The ACC has prevailed. Iowa, losers for the 3rd time to a North Carolina State team. Dick Sheridan brought together a tremendous game plan, fueled by offensive coordinator Ted Kane. While for the Hawkeyes of Iowa, a year ago, they lost one game all year long to the champions of the Big Ten, Michigan. And this year, Dave, they'll now have a long road to hoe to match that record of a year ago. They'll have to go undefeated somehow, some way.
Especially when they match up next time against Miami. That's their next game that they're looking at. It's got to just be a really disheartening loss. When you start to look at their season, they were counting this game. They had already put this one in the win column. Now they've got to come back and regroup.
Dave, I asked you at the outset of our telecast if there was any way the Wolfpack could excel for 4 quarters defensively against this stinging Iowa offense. That was the question I think that Dick Sheridan wanted answered.
Well, he got his answer. We talked about it would be late, but I think the key to the whole play of NC State was that their offense was able to keep the defense off the field, so they never did get worn down. Their defense played great football when they were out there, but you have got to credit this football game with the offense being able to move the football.
The mastermind behind the Wolfpack victory is Dick Sheridan, and he is standing by down on the sideline. Dick, ever in your wildest dreams did you think this young Wolfpack football team could beat a team like the Hawkeyes of Iowa?
Well, it really wasn't in our wildest dreams. I think we could not have won this game if our players had not come in here believing that what happened could have happened.
Dick, you moved the ball on the ground so well, it had to surprise you. When you rush over 200 yards, you've got a 20-0-1 record. That had to be the most pleasing thing. You rushed for almost 300 yards.
Well, I really think this is probably one of our best games for an offensive line, and to be such a young group in there, I'm pleased with everything, but the play of those guys in the offensive line was remarkable.
Well, I think your defense really set the tone. You knew your defense was going to have to play 4 quarters. Your offense really helped them, didn't it, keeping them off the field?
Well, you know, we had a great respect for Iowa's defense. They've been either number 1 or 2 in the Big Ten every year, and with an untested offensive line, I thought it was going to be really important that we keep our defense off the field, and that was a key to the game.
Well, Terry Jordan's return certainly helped, didn't it?
Well, Terry had another outstanding game. You know, we had an interception off a deflection and a fumble when hit from behind. Other than that, he couldn't have played much better.
All right, Dick, congratulations, and boy, what a whale of a way to get this 1992 NC State season off. Good luck to you throughout the year.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
We're pleased to announce that tonight's Sports Cream player of the game is North Carolina State quarterback Terry Jordan. 14 of 24. Look at that, 159 yards and a touchdown. What a great night it was, not only for Terry Jordan, not only for his tailback, Anthony Barber, his wideouts, Eddie Goins, Reggie Lawrence, and Robert Hinton, but a tremendous performance by each and every one of these NC State Wolfpack football players. Final score, North Carolina State 24, the Iowa Hawkeyes 14. The Kickoff Classic on Raycom has been brought to you by new improved Head & Shoulders. Now it works even better to prevent flakes. Beautiful night here in East Rutherford, New Jersey. What a great night it was for football. The Kickoff Classic, the 10th annual, will go down as certainly one of the more entertaining games played as North Carolina State defeated the Hawkeyes of Iowa 24-14.
What a way to kick off the season. 2 outstanding games on Raycom, with Texas A&M upsetting Stanford the other night, and tonight NC State controlling a powerful Iowa team.
I don't think there's any question. Hayden Fry's Iowa Hawkeyes have to be a bit demoralized now as they fly back to Iowa City. For Dave Rowe, this is Phil Stone. Thanks for joining us. This has been a copyrighted presentation of Raycom.